Toying dangerously with the sin of pride. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, welcome. It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in here, toll free, take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Of course, lots in the news to discuss, and we are here to take your phone calls and thoughts about whatever you want to talk about here on Free Talk Live. Coming up here shortly, we're going to get into the latest from the dark web. Yes, another darknet underground marketplace has shut down, although this time it looks like it might have been an exit scam instead of the government gang taking them down with violence. We will tell you about that. Of course, you can bring up anything you want. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The debate from today is uploading as we speak. It was streamed live earlier at 3 o'clock Eastern. If you missed it, there will be an uploaded version to the Free Keene YouTube channel. Technically, you could always go to our Twitch and our DLive channel and play them back because their archive is there. It's available immediately. So folks who wanted to could play it back, but the official version will be going up here tonight. So that's what this is actually the second show we've done from the studio today because we did produce today's Republican gubernatorial debate here live, which featured buddy.
Yep, and we've still got a third one to do.
A third debate?
No, third show today.
Oh, right, because you've got Nobody Tells the Truth coming up later tonight.
Absolutely.
So hopefully the show is as good as the debate was because that turned out pretty good.
You watched
liked the debate?
Of course
Nice.
I watched it.
Okay, well, you're a busy guy. You're running a business.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay.
I'll give you that. But
Yeah.
I did get the first part and then the very last part.
Yeah, good.
Nice.
Well, I think that everybody had warmed up pretty good by the end. Mark had never hosted a debate before, so he was a little flummoxed by the way debates were supposed to go, and we managed to iron it all out by the time we got through the first 20 minutes.
It wasn't hostile like I would kind of expect it to be.
Is he a hostile guy? I mean, he's not a hostile guy.
Usually when you're getting into a debate with like another party, it's kind of
not another
more
party.
debate-ish.
Well, I mean, you are a libertarian, and
I
a
am a
Republican.
libertarian.
You're running as a Republican.
Yeah, I am running as
So that's
I am
different.
running as a Republican, but then again, Ronald Reagan said that libertarianism was one of the three-legged stool. Was that his thing?
I don't know.
of conservatism, which I don't consider it conservative.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think it's
not at all.
conservative
I
by any
consider
stretch
it
of the
radical.
imagination.
Conservatives are libertarian on some things, and progressives are libertarian on some things.
I think it's a
Right.
fair statement.
So,
Although,
yeah.
man, today they're... Well, it's I kind of feel like neither are libertarian at all because they're both willing to use violence to achieve their objective. But yeah, I get
How
what you're
so?
saying. Well, I mean, the left wants to, more programs, right? And then the right does too, though, I guess. So just different programs. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're only libertarian on certain issues.
Yeah.
so
Right.
they take a libertarian perspective in certain ways
Slants,
when it
maybe.
benefits them.
Yeah,
right?
so-
They're libertarian about the things they want to do.
Sure.
And they're authoritarian about the things they don't want
That's
to
right.
do.
Yep, exactly
You
right.
know?
They don't
Which
have
is
principles.
If
No, definitely not.
Well, I don't necessarily see it as that. I see it as, maybe they haven't watched the logic as carefully.
They
Maybe
certainly
haven't.
don't subscribe to the NAP.
It's
the
not our
non-aggression
principle. Right. Yeah, it's
So-
not our
Yeah.
principle, which is, as you
Right.
said, non-aggression principle. Their principle may be, and Karen, for instance, Karen Testerman was the other person in the debate besides Nobody. She's also running for governor here in New Hampshire, so they're both competing to try to take down the incumbent. But she did talk a lot about family. And to her, that's
Right.
probably one of her principles. Now, whether she believes the government should mandate certain things about promoting the family or whatever, we didn't get that deep into her beliefs.
Yeah. and that was unfortunate because, I kind of preemptively talked about that a little bit, but I didn't there was nothing concrete there.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you start going down that path of family, it's almost never going to be libertarian.
Well, it depends.
I mean, the thing is, I go down the path of family as well, but I go down it in a very different way, which is family is what you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to marry 4 people, you should be able to marry 4 people.
Let me rephrase. I think when anybody other than a libertarian goes down that path, it's certainly not libertarian.
Yeah.
Well, it's not libertarian, but that's the stuff we got to talk about. We're bored to death if we talk about only the stuff we agree about.
Sure. But I don't hear libertarians talking about family very much, and especially.
Well, you don't hang out with the family ones.
This is true, but even when I hear people talking about family, even in libertarian circles, I often tend to hear it from people who are not that libertarian.
Maybe. I mean, I don't run in those circles myself because I don't have a family.
I don't either. So.
And it could just be that because you don't expect to see it at libertarian events, it strikes you as they strike you as less libertarian ipso facto, but that's more.
I know libertarians with families,
sure,
but they don't run in those circles that are talking about family values and whatever else.
Now that's a different matter, though. Because family values is a little bit code for something, isn't it?
Probably.
Because it's not your family's values, and it's not my family's values, and it's not Ian's family's values. It's they've got a particular family in mind.
Right.
And we don't know that family.
It's a family that doesn't really exist, but yeah.
But it's a hypothetical family.
Sure. It's 1950s, stereotype of a family.
Which is okay. You can do that. And it's okay to live that way, even if it's not what I would choose, because just about everybody who wants to be happy should choose things that I wouldn't choose, because I'm bizarre.
I don't know. If it was all voluntary, sure. I don't think there's anything to object. I think part of the problem, though, is that usually family values, and I don't know if I can get into exactly how this is, but family values tend to incorporate ideas that are definitely not libertarian. They involve force and violence and things of that nature. So,
I think sometimes they do, and certainly in our society, everything involves force and violence because everything involves the government. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that even on the conservative side, they have come to almost accept that their lives will be run by the government, and they're just going to squawk every once in a while when they feel strongly about something. But a lot of times, they just take it, and I think that's very unfortunate, especially since they are the side that actually talks about being able to fight back, but never wants to. The other side wants to fight back, but won't do the things that it needs to do to be able to. For example, getting a large number of guns and the training to use them. That would be, and that if you really want to change the world, you can't do it without that.
So I was watching last night, speaking of Republicans speaking and such. Normally, I wouldn't spend any time watching a Republican or Democrat
boring, right?
National convention. However, after the show was wrapping up last night, I was made aware that the thing was still going on. And apparently, interestingly, the Republicans actually held their debate yesterday, or not debate, their convention yesterday on the White House lawn.
So this was a national?
Yeah, the Republican National Convention. Rather than being in some, stuffy hotel somewhere, they put 2,000 chairs out on the White House lawn, set up all their, stage and lighting and things like that, and did a full-on convention on the White House lawn. So you got to give them credit. And that's a pretty ballsy thing to do.
It's a ballsy move, especially because it kind of shatters a little bit of tradition, because the party is supposed to be neutral through the convention. They never are.
Oh, yeah.
But they always lie and say they are.
Yeah.
This year, they're not lying.
No, it's straight
out.
And when
a politician starts lying, you better reach for your wallet.
Yeah.
Because he's getting ready to come at you straight up.
It's kind of interesting that they utilized the White House lawn. You would think that would be kind of like an interest issue where
it is. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Can the Democrats go and do that?
It's a conflict of interest,
right? Yeah. Like, what about the Libertarians? Can we go out and
But
Or
it's
maybe-
also a conflict of interest because he's running against other people.
Yeah, right.
Or
absolutely.
maybe the Democrats could have done it, but they didn't think of it, and they already held their convention, so it's too late now. There's more coming up here, because I don't think they did it until the last day. But correct me if I'm wrong on that. I only found out about it yesterday. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Chinese banks limit customers' ability to buy gold. Chinese flooding and potential dam collapse threatens many Bitcoin operations. Withdrawals from crypto exchanges increase, indicating perhaps more people are holding their coin for themselves. Tentative agreement met to stabilize Bitcoin Cash mining in conjunction with the currency's third birthday. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And, of course, you can call in. You can bring up what you want. We are kind of talking about, of all things, surprisingly, the Republican National Convention. Something I would not normally find interesting at all. But what I found out last night was that there was a lady who spoke at the convention that Donald Trump apparently commuted her sentence. And she was in prison for a life sentence, first-time offender, for drug-related charges.
Wow.
Yeah, federal, apparently. And so she not only did she have her sentence commuted, but after last night, after she spoke at the Republican convention, Trump pardoned her as well.
Wow.
So first he commuted her sentence, then he pardoned her. So we'll talk a little bit more about
If
that.
only he had the balls to do that for all of us, he might earn some support.
I was thinking just Ross even.
Well, Ross Ulbricht would certainly be somebody else who he should definitely do this for. But you're right. It's just a symbolic gesture. It doesn't mean a whole lot unless you can do it for all the people that deserve to be out from behind bars.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of people.
I mean, it would certainly mean something for me because basically I do have one thing in common with Donald Trump, which is when I started talking, the FBI came along and tried to silence me. In a different way.
This is true.
They couldn't make him a felon. He's got a lot of lawyers. I had to use a public defender.
Right.
So, so they didn't completely destroy his life, but they did spy on him.
But now he couldn't pardon you, right? That wasn't federal charges that you faced.
It wasn't federal charges.
Wait, he doesn't have the power to federal or pardon
but
states.
I don't think
charges.
so.
Really?
But one thing that I would do is say, to the extent that I could make it stick, that if you committed a victimless crime somewhere else, maybe I can't pardon it, but New Hampshire cannot care.
What do you mean New Hampshire cannot care?
I mean, basically that to the extent I can do it by executive order, say, ignore that to
You're
state
saying
employees.
as president?
As governor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about if you were in Trump's position.
I'm trying to think of at what point. I mean, you can't just say don't ignore or to ignore. Like, let's say like somebody's a felon at the federal level, and you don't have power over that, but you can say ignore it at the state level. But that doesn't mean the feds can't come in and say if somebody has a gun that was convicted at the federal level.
Yeah, the only answer is secession. We have to secede.
But then you see, but something's going to lead to secession.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen in a vacuum, and it's not going to happen from a push.
Yeah.
It's going to happen from all of a sudden the government does something absolutely horrific.
Well, how much worse can it get?
Well, I mean, they do it all the time, but the thing is,
the frog in water has kept people pretty complacent.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of things to keep them distracted. They got their Netflix, they got their sports. Although sports are kind of going away now because of COVID.
I think there's usually
not because of COVID, because of Black Lives Matter.
Well, no, it's because of their response to COVID. They're shutting down sports. I mean, the entire fall semester at the college the entire fall semester sports have been canceled at the college.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a radio station that I spoke with today because again I call radio stations for during the daylight hours to try to pitch Free Talk Live to them. And one of the guys I've been talking to for a while says, "Yeah, we might need you coming up in a couple months because they don't have as much sports this year because it's just not there."
Oh, right.
And so they had to take their sports that they had on their AM talk station and move it over to their sports station because the sports station started to have gaps in programming. So they took whatever left they had from sports on the talk station, moved it over to the sports station. So now they're going to have some more room on the talk station. So it's actually an opportunity for Free Talk Live.
Sounds like it.
In this case. And a lot of our stations had preempted us for sports previously. But if the sports aren't there to preempt us for, then we're going to get more airtime.
We can preempt them.
Yeah.
Or post-empt them.
That's great.
Whatever that
let me bring Robert on the line here. He's in Vermont. And, of course, you can bring up anything you want. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good afternoon. I should say good evening.
Whatever time it is, wherever you are. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, look, I don't know. I watched the debate last, the presidential, as much as I could stand anyways. And
they didn't have a debate. You mean you're talking about the National Convention?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, there was hardly anybody at all wearing masks.
Yeah, that was nice to see.
But it's just the elite.
Social distancing, so to me that tells me that the pandemic's over with.
Guys, don't you know that the elite are just immune from the virus?
Well, I don't know if it's... I mean, I suspect that the people in that audience were probably more well-to-do than they weren't. I don't know what it took to get tickets into that thing, but it was still
Driving
true.
somebody always helps.
Yeah, well, again, you'd have to be somewhat well-to-do to be able to do that, I suspect. But, in this particular case, Robert's correct. It was basically a full audience of people. Very few of them were wearing masks, and that imagery still did go out to people. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah. So they don't have to wear a mask when they're on a Zoom call?
No, this was the 2000. This was the 2000.
Oh, that's funny.
You're joking.
No,
about
that was a story we covered that the lowly peons of their organization had to wear masks even when they were in their homes alone, talking on Zoom, because this is all about how it looks.
Yeah, that was
nothing's real.
State Department of Health, I think that was Wisconsin or Minnesota or something like that. Robert, any other comments about the convention? Go ahead.
Well, not so much about the convention, but within the last, let's say, 60 days, I've heard myself, like the president, if we would go, he's been doing all of these afternoon speeches and stuff like that at the White House, and he's talked about looking into pardoning Edward Snowden.
He did talk about that. And I don't know how much looking. I don't know how much looking he's done, but he did mention it recently. And thank you, Robert, for your call tonight. But it was maybe 2 weeks ago. There were some headlines, and they kind of just came out of nowhere. I think someone asked him at an event about Edward Snowden, and I think he just brought it up that he was looking into pardoning him. Yeah. Now, it could just be a tease.
Well, that's the thing is Trump will jerk you off. Mm-hmm. Trump will say he's going to do this and say he's going to do that. He promises everything that everybody wants, and then he might produce something for something. Well, I'm a cryptocurrency guy, so you can pay me. If you're paying me to vote for you, then you pay me first.
I got some other suspicions about the whole pardoning Snowden thing, and wouldn't that be a really good means or plausible direction to go if you want to effectively get him here in order to prosecute him?
Oh yeah, he should not come back.
If I was Edward Snowden, I would not come back, even if I was pardoned. And I put that in quotes
because they'll come up with other charges.
Right.
As soon as he sets foot, he'll be arrested.
I wouldn't trust these liars
from the federal marshals. Or
who's going to come for him? The same guys who came to Acosta and told him that Epstein was an intelligence asset and above his pay grade and should be given a pass. So he couldn't kill himself.
So we'll talk about this lady that got a full pardon from President Trump, and she was serving a life sentence on so-called drug crimes. We'll tell you more about her, and your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. Plus, the takedown of another darknet marketplace. Was it an exit scam that brought down the empire? More coming up here.
That's my favorite.
This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. D-I-V-I Project.org.
Free Talk Live.
Tricia, you deserve the forgiveness. Absolutely. I know that it feels like you've made some mistakes, and you know what? You have made mistakes. Now, it doesn't feel like this.
Who hasn't?
Right. A, it doesn't make any sense for you to continue to beat yourself up. You're not going to get anything out of it. Nobody else is going to get anything out of it.
That's
but
true.
B, you would give the forgiveness to somebody else. you deserve that forgiveness for yourself.
And only you can give it to yourself.
I mean,
and I think forgiveness is about moving on for yourself, being able to come to a position in your own mind where you're ready to just accept what went wrong and try your best to do better in the future. And find self-assess and find areas that you can improve. And I think, bringing forgiveness to the table for yourself is one of the most important things that you can do.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can also join our Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Boy, what an interesting day. We had a great debate between Nobody and Karen Testerman, who's the other candidate, the two that are challenging the Tyrant King, His Excellency, Chris Sununu.
Not the Pirate King, but I'm the Pirate King. That's not, maybe I'll change my name to that next year.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Yeah, I can do a Nutcracker Suite presentation in the...
So we're going to talk about some prohibition-related stuff. A dark website has been taken down, and it looks like it may be an exit scam. We'll tell you what that's all about coming up here in a bit. Plus, I think, Chris, you had some tech news to get into with Mastodon being blocked somewhere. We'll talk about what that means because listeners are probably like, what? They blocked it?
Oh, it's impacted?
What?
That's what they call it when it happens to horses.
Oh. Yeah.
So we can get into that issue here when we get a chance. Toll-free number again, 855-450 free. But there's also big news from the guys over at AnyPay. Now, we've been telling you a lot about AnyPay over the years here on Free Talk Live as the way to accept cryptocurrency and do it in real life. Like your local business accept Bitcoin from other people who want to pay it. And it's a nice thing. Like, that's where they started. They recently expanded to include WordPress sites using WooCommerce, there's a lot of those. So if you've got a blog where you're selling things through WooCommerce, which is the most popular sales plugin for WordPress. Now you can just add the AnyPay plugin to that and just start accepting cryptocurrency within moments. I mean, it is super easy to get started on that. That's all recent good news about AnyPay. But the big news that I wanted to announce tonight for the very first time is that now Edge Wallet has been upgraded. And we've promoted Edge Wallet in the past here on Free Talk Live. It's a great wallet.
Weren't they a sponsor at one point?
They were a sponsor for, I think, well over a year, maybe even a couple of years. And as you might imagine, a lot of people pulled back advertising during COVID.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely.
But they're still a great wallet, and I still like to talk about them and promote them as a great solution.
Oh, yeah.
But AnyPay recently upgraded their system, and so Edge had to kind of catch up. And we managed to incentivize that to happen because Edge is open source, which is cool. So AnyPay was able to make the changes necessary to make to Edge and then just submit them to Edge, and then Edge just put them in, right? So Edge didn't even have to really do the work to make their wallet better, which is cool.
Yeah.
And so
that's the great thing about open source. Other people will maintain your code for you.
Well, I mean,
to some extent.
Usually it helps in the contribution or improvement of as opposed to being, total maintenance of.
Yeah. So this was incentivized, and that's because we wanted to make sure that Edge continued to be the top wallet to work with AnyPay, because we've installed it on a lot of people's phones around here. And so now Edge, the big news is that Edge is now compatible. You just have to make sure you get the latest version. So if you had Edge before, go ahead and check your iOS store or the Google store and make sure that you get the update that was just released, I think within the last 24 hours. So it should be there when you check for it, and then you can use it with AnyPay, and it's going to be so fast. Now it is so fast to pay with AnyPay. It used to be if you scan the AnyPay and you hit the send button on your wallet, it might take 3 seconds or sometimes 12, sometimes longer if it was an unusual delay, maybe you had bad internet or something. But now, but 2 to 3 was the fastest you could get. Now it's so fast that when you swipe the little send dealie, whatever you call that slider,
crazy.
You swipe the send slider and then it does its little spinny thing while it sends it. AnyPay will show the payment as paid, usually a fraction of a second before Edge even shows you we sent your payment notice. So it is so fast. It's reverse fast now. It's pretty awesome. So check out the latest version of Edge Wallet, and if you haven't checked out AnyPay yet as a merchant, whether you're online with WordPress and WooCommerce or you're in real life with a brick and mortar store, you got to get over to AnyPayInc.com or just download the AnyPay app for your favorite device and get set up and get started. You don't have to ask anyone's permission to start taking cryptocurrency. You just do it. All right, so here's the news that I was surprised to hear when I heard it. So, we know that Donald Trump has done some pardoning. He's done a little bit of it. It's been his buddies to some extent, right? He pardoned or commuted the sentence, or was it pardon? Roger Stone?
It always seems that that's how it ends up being. The friends get pardoned.
Well, that's how it is, right?
Yeah,
Nepotism.
Clinton, I remember Clinton did that at the end too. I think it was he pardoned a lot of his friends or something like that.
Well, in this case, he's not doing it at the end. He's doing it in the middle.
Right in the middle.
So, credit goes to him for doing this. But what brought this to my attention was, as I mentioned last night after the show was over, it was brought to my attention that this thing was still going on, and of course, I'd heard that Trump was speaking every single night, which is unusual, right? Normally at these conventions, the final event is when the big guy speaks, right? When their nominee, in the case of the Democrats, Biden spoke on the last day, right? So they have 3 or 4 days of this convention, and somebody big like the vice presidential candidate speaks the night before the last night, and the presidential candidate speaks on the last night. That's how it is at every presidential convention. But Trump, he's got a lot to say, right? And he can do what he wants, so he spoke every single night as the keynote speaker, basically, from what I understand, at the Republican convention. So I'm like, this guy is so ridiculous. I certainly don't agree with a lot of the things that he does, but I have to admit he's entertaining, and he's interesting because he isn't as afraid to kind of speak his mind, right? He's not your typical politician. He's still a politician. He's still a liar, but he's at the very least entertaining enough.
I could think of a lot of bad characters in history that were also very entertaining.
Yeah.
And looking
absolutely.
back now, it might be okay to say, I don't know, what's the French guy that took over most of Europe.
Napoleon,
yeah. It might be interesting. It might be okay to say he was entertaining, to say the least, now, but certainly you wouldn't want to say that about somebody more recent.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
But he is entertaining, and so I thought, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tune this in as I work on the archives, and I have some chores that I had to do, take out the trash and things like that. So I'm listening to this, and Trump hadn't come on yet, so he was still being kind of introduced by his daughter, who gave the introductory speech prior to him. And what was interesting was she was positioning him as this sort of anti-war character who wants to get the well, I mean, that to some extent he has been the more of, at least in my lifetime, he's been more anti-war than his predecessors, at least, and again, in my lifetime.
Sure.
He has withdrawn some troops from some places. By no means has it been like a Ron Paul style, full on, end the occupation of the world thing. But he's done little baby steps here and there. So she tried to position him as this sort of anti-war candidate, and also position him as this prison reformer. And she brings up this lady, Alice Johnson, who Trump apparently gave a commutation of her sentence for so-called drug crimes. And so I heard the name, and I'm like, okay, well, I got to find out more about this lady. What was it that happened in this case? And so here's a little bit about her. This from Fox News. Alice Marie Johnson, actually spoke at the same convention. So earlier, I guess, in the day, the lady that he had commuted her sentence commented about President Trump on the final night of the RNC for pushing criminal justice reform and giving her a second chance. She said, quote, "I was once told that the only way I would ever be reunited with my family would be as a corpse. But by the grace of God and the compassion of Donald Trump, I stand before you tonight, and I assure you I am not a ghost." She says, "I'm alive, I am well, and most important, I am free." Well, of course, none of us are free, but it's a lot more, it feels a lot more free when you get out of prison. After having been there, in her case, for over 2 decades of her life. She'd been serving a life sentence with no parole for her role in a nonviolent federal drug case until Trump commuted her sentence apparently 2 years ago in June of 2018. She's now 63, and after serving more than 2 decades behind bars as a first-time offender, Johnson is finally free to re-enter society. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her story coming up here, and then we'll get into the dark web, which is an interesting place, and there are dark web marketplaces out there, and there's been a long history. We're coming up on almost a decade now of the darknet marketplace concept, and they still keep going down. We'll tell you what happened to one of the latest and the biggest out there in just a few moments, and your calls and thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from MyPatriotSupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's MyPatriotSupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here. The number for you, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. We're going to go to those here. We actually got somebody waiting there patiently. And you will sound better if you're on the Discord call-in line rooms than you would if you call in on the phone. But either way is fine. We'd be happy to take your call and hear from you, whether it's about criminal justice reform, ending the war on drugs, whatever is on your mind. You can join us here with you in the studio tonight. You've got Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
We're going to go to your calls and thoughts, and I'll tell you more about this Alice Marie Johnson, who was set free from prison after 20-plus years behind bars on a life sentence with no parole for her involvement in some cocaine trafficking charges from decades ago. Wow. And we'll tell you more about that story here, and of course your calls and thoughts are welcome. Let's go first to Steven Zeiler. He is on the line calling us from the seacoast of New Hampshire on Discord. Hey, Steven.
Hey, Keen.
Hey.
I'm sure many of your listeners would love to earn passive Bitcoin without doing any hard work.
Well, I don't know if that's possible, Steven, because you usually have to work in order to get something passive going on. You got to work at it.
That's right. Well, you have to work upfront a little bit, and then you can get passive income with AnyPay's now official and better than ever affiliate program.
Wait a minute, official? It wasn't official before when you had it, because we were promoting it on the air.
Well, that was the ambassador program, and this is definitely better and different.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so wait a minute. So the ambassador program was where somebody could get a local business to jump on board with AnyPay and start accepting crypto, and then they'd get, I think it was maybe 1% of every sale that business made in either Bitcoin Cash or Dash. That was the way that it was. So what's changing?
That's right, and that was paid by AnyPay, and we were helping people to grow the network. But now the affiliate program it lets you earn more than 1% at any business, and it's much more scalable for AnyPay.
Yeah, because I mean, it seemed to me like the ambassador program was basically kind of like the old Dashback and Bitcoin Cashbacks that you guys did a couple of years back, which was an incentive that you guys were subsidizing to enhance some interest in things. So are you saying that the ambassador program is henceforth being replaced with this affiliate program, that the ambassador program is no longer?
That's right.
Got it.
And they're all across America, and in hundreds of stores around, there are businesses who want to earn Bitcoin. And there are some near you where you live. And when they have customers that pay in Bitcoin, they make money. So they want to promote themselves. And because they earn money when people shop there, those businesses will probably want to pay a little bit to have you bring in customers.
In theory, that might be something they'd want to do. Yeah.
All right. Or maybe, so this is how it works. You don't change anything. When you sign up a merchant with AnyPay, you put in your AnyPay email, like you've been doing, as the affiliate. And then you might notice that as soon as you do that, every time someone comes to pay, you receive, by default, 1 cent right to your wallet.
Okay.
And this is different because it comes right from the customer's payment.
When you say it comes from their payment, you mean the merchant isn't getting 100% of the sale?
Well, it adds 1 cent to what the customer pays.
I see. Now,
and that's 1 cent, not 1%.
Now, wait a minute. Is it adding 1 cent? Because I know that AnyPay recently changed its model for revenue to where you guys were charging a cent on top that goes to AnyPay for providing the service. Is that still happening? So is it now a 2 cent charge on top of the...
Yeah, that's right. Okay. If a business wants you to be an ambassador, then their customers will pay 1 cent. Now, nobody just pointed out it's only 1 cent. That's not very much.
No.
But the merchant in their account, you can help them set how much you get, what percent
percentage
of an affiliate reward. So they can set any percentage.
So what you're saying is you can cut a deal with the merchant. It leaves it up to the ambassador. So if I for me, it's just like it's a mission. I just want to bring merchants on. I don't care about the percentage. So I would leave it as the default. But if this was something that somebody was using, as like an income, this was something they wanted to turn into a business, to go out there, hit the streets, start selling acceptance of crypto, then they could get the merchant to come to some sort of agreement like, okay, well, I'll take 2% of every crypto sale. In return, I'll give you this level of service or whatever. Is that the idea, Stephen, where they can kind of come to an agreement on their own?
That's exactly right. They can come to an agreement to earn as much as they want. And the merchant has the option. Does it come out of the merchant's cut, or does it add 2% to what the customer pays?
Okay.
So wait a minute. So that's interesting. So the price will be 2% higher if you pay with crypto then?
It would be if that's what they chose.
If that's what they choose, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how your merchants decide to handle this, because right now AnyPay's got merchants across the planet. So it'll be interesting to see, well, what percentage of these merchants is going to start charging more for crypto. I don't think that'll be very popular, but I could be wrong.
I would be more likely to want a discount for crypto, so I get it.
That's what a lot of merchants told us.
I was thinking the same thing. So my company takes crypto. Now we're an online operation, but and we actually give a discount when you use crypto. I think
how much?
I believe the way it works for us is we give free shipping. So it's actually not. It's not really. It as a percentage. It can be significant. It can be up to like 20-something percent, 28% discount. Or it might be
based on
much
total.
smaller. Like if you order a desktop computer from us, then it's a small percentage. But if you order, say, a Wi-Fi card from us, then it's pretty substantial.
So I'm just thinking out loud here, Stephen. This is the first I've heard of this. I knew that you guys were working on some cool tweaks. I just didn't know that where they were in development. Just hearing about this. So as a merchant, if you were to pitch this to a merchant, that you could. The old way of pitching crypto was, hey, merchant, you get to keep 100% of the sale, and that's a pretty persuasive thing as a merchant, because if you're paying credit card fees, you're paying out at least 3%, if not more. You're talking about 4 or 5% with other credit cards like Discover or American Express. So they're paying at least 3% out to these credit card companies. I'm just trying to think what the best pitch would be. Like, hey, why don't you give your customers 3% off or 2% off and then cut me 1%, that way it's still 3%. You're not losing anything, and you're incentivizing people to pay with crypto, and 1% goes to the person who helped get you set up. But it could be completely up to the merchant and the individual, which I think is cool that you're letting people make those choices.
we don't know how much it's going to be, and each merchant's different.
Right.
Many of them in Thailand that we talked to, they give to 10% off to attract people who have meetups, and they want them to come there. And
now, is that something you can do here?
I'm
sorry to interrupt, but is that something you can do with this? I know you said that you can raise the price in order to pay this ambassador. Can you also lower the price, meaning the cashier doesn't have to do the math, right? Like, because the cashiers aren't going to be good at that. If the total sale is $100, we might be able to easily knock 3% off if we're good at math, but the cashier might not be good at that. So they just type in the total, and then would all the math be done in the background, or does the cashier have to like figure stuff out?
Oh, let's say that they get 5% reward to the affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
When the cashier types in $100 and your wallet says you're paying $100, but actually your wallet pays $95 to the business and $5 to the affiliate.
So the customer has no idea about that. It's completely transparent. They don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. And so would the merchant be able to set a discount on all the products that they sell for crypto, but not send anything of that discount to the affiliate?
Oh, that sounds cool. And we don't have that yet, but we've been working on it.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And so how does one go about setting these new options if you're a merchant with AnyPay? Is this something...
Sign into your online admin for AnyPay, and there's an affiliate section, and it's right there. You put in your affiliate's email, and you set the percent you want. You set whether or not the customer pays or you pay as the merchant.
Very cool. That's exciting. Do you guys have any other questions for Stephen while we've got him on the line? I guess that's a no.
Nope.
I'm glad to hear that you guys think that AnyPay and Edge is so fast.
It's fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. You guys are also qualified with other wallets, right? Do you want to rattle off some of the other wallets that are qualified with the new AnyPay 2.0, if you don't mind?
Oh, yeah. Well, then there's Bitcoin.com wallet, Mycelium wallet. Those are popular. There is Handcash wallet, Dash wallet, all of the official Dash wallets, Dash Text. There's Electron Cash. There's Blockchain wallet.
So there's a process going on here, and at some point, not tonight, Stephen, but I do want to talk about what we can help you do with this, because there's some wallets that they're trailing behind the others, and they need to get brought back up. But that's Stephen from AnyPay, and we'll talk about that another time. I definitely appreciate you calling in tonight. Check out anypayinc.com, anypayinc.com. The next step is going to be to reach out to wallets like Coinomi and Exodus and get them on board with this new payment system they've got. It's pretty sweet. More coming up. Hour 2.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Another lawsuit. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Several states taking legal action against the Trump administration over environmental concerns.
California and more than a dozen other states are suing to block the Trump administration from easing requirements that agencies consider environmental pipelines and highways. The latest legal challenge alleges that the administration is improperly weakening a requirement that federal agencies review and assess the effects of their actions on the environment. The lawsuit also alleges that the rule change announced July 15th involving the National Environmental Policy Act will limit public participation in the review process. In Washington, John Decker, Fox News.
Fresh off his acceptance of his renomination, President Trump with a campaign stop in New Hampshire this evening. A delay in a court process for the suspected shooter in a violent protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin that were ignited after the shooting of Jacob Blake.
The decision on whether or not to extradite 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse from Illinois is postponed for 1 month.
We'll set it for status of extradition on Friday, September 25th at 9 o'clock.
Lake County Judge Paul Novak as Rittenhouse awaits charges here in Kenosha County on 5 felony counts, including murder and attempted murder in the shootings of protesters that were captured on video on a third night of violence. His lawyers claim self-defense. It all follows the police shooting of Jacob Blake, whose father says was left paralyzed. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The Wisconsin State Senate will be in special session Monday to address police reform in the wake of the Blake shooting. America is listening to Fox News.
Adjusting to a new normal means we need to be smart about how we do business. Thousands of small business owners have discovered the benefits of Stamps.com and kept their businesses running while avoiding trips to the post office. With Stamps.com, you can print postage on demand and you'll never pay full price, with access to discounted rates you can't even get at the post office, like 5 cents off every stamp and up to 62% off USPS and UPS shipping rates. Don't waste time at the post office or UPS store. Print official stamps and labels right from your home or office computer for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. Once your mail's ready, just leave it for your mail carrier, schedule a free package pickup, or drop it off. It's a no-brainer. Right now, listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with no long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Fox. That's Stamps.com. Enter Fox. Stamps.com. Enter Fox.
A House committee will consider a resolution holding Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in contempt.
House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Elliot Engel says his panel will begin working on a resolution to hold the Secretary of State in contempt of Congress. Engel says Mike Pompeo has refused to comply with committee subpoenas about State Department political activity. A subpoena was issued last month as part of an investigation into misuse of State Department resources and accusations of leaks to undermine political rivals. Engel has also criticized Pompeo's inclusion in this week's Republican National Convention. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Boeing has found manufacturing defects on some of its 787 long-range airliners where parts of the fuselage are joined together. The company saying 8 planes must be inspected and repaired before they're allowed to fly, and it has contacted airlines which have removed them from service. Boeing declined to say which airlines are involved, but United, Air Canada, and Singapore Airlines confirmed they each have 1 plane grounded for inspection. Amazon getting into the fitness band business.
It's a fitness band called the Halo, and it's Amazon's first entry into the wearables race. The band will set users back about $100. Those with early access pay less, while the subscription service runs $4 a month. And what does that all buy you? Well, no screen. It's all on an app. The usual fitness tracking features, as well as some unique ones, like the ability to create 3D scans for body fat using a smartphone camera, and tracking how someone's feeling emotionally by listening to the tone of the wearer's voice. Amazon says the band is water resistant with a battery life of a week. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
Wall Street at the close. The Dow gained 161 points. The Nasdaq added 70. The S&P plus 23. Its fifth straight winning week. I'm Lee Silasera, and this is Fox News.
Patrons at a local Boston sports club watched dumbfounded today as an unidentified man's personal trainer forced him to put on an embarrassing athletic spectacle for the entire gym.
Like a machine, there you go.
According to sources, the degrading little show went on for nearly 45 minutes, with the man reportedly being paraded around every section of the fitness establishment doing anything his trainer commanded.
I wish I could turn around and concentrate on my workout, but I can't help but keep watching. He has to know how ridiculous he looks.
Sources added that the whole spectacle was made even sadder by the personal trainer encouraging the man to, quote, push himself a little harder.
It's like watching a f***ing trained seal. Okay, so when you stand like that, you want to feel pressure in your knees, like this, right here, okay? Okay, give it a shot.
You root for him to tell the trainer that he's a human being with dignity and just walk away. But no, he keeps subjecting himself to this.
All right. Let's have you get on your back, walk like a crab. Come on.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're kicking off the second hour of the program. You can bring up whatever you want here. We've been discussing criminal justice reform off and on in between talking about the latest from our friends over at AnyPay. But the criminal justice reform specifically that is front and center at the moment is the case of Alice Marie Johnson. And with you, by the way, tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
Ms. Johnson was serving a life sentence in federal prison on drug charges. She was in there on some alleged cocaine dealing charges. She was apparently part of some sort of a larger operation that was moving some cocaine in the past, and the federal government put her behind bars for life with no parole. And then at age 63, in June of 2018...
Oh God, so her life's already gone.
Trump commuted her sentence at that time. And she was then able
How old was she when they put her in there?
Probably like 40.
Okay.
Yeah, because she was in there for 22 years. Yeah. So they let her out. Trump commuted her sentence. She said, quote, "I'd never been in trouble. I was a first-time nonviolent offender. What I did was wrong. I made decisions that I regret." Well, I don't think it's wrong to sell, whatever you want to voluntarily buyer. But
if you advertise it honestly, then you're just selling a chemical. If you sell somebody some Clorox and they drink it,
and
they shouldn't have drank the Clorox.
That market demand is going to be met whether it's legal or not.
That's right.
Oh, absolutely. The only difference is with the war on drugs, you can't trace down your supply chain if somebody sells you fentanyl instead of heroin, and you can't make anybody liable for that. And that means it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like you need the government to make people liable. People have been making people liable without the government for a long time. You just need the government out of the way.
And I think a lot of those problems can be resolved within the free market, regardless of the government's existence, because in a free market you can potentially have a system, with reviews and ratings and things like that. So
but the thing is, the government policy is we want people dead. And so anything that you do to try to make them safer, we will crush you.
Right.
Because we want them crushed.
Right. And that's the problem with the government, interaction and interference with the
free
market.
The problem with letting psychopaths run your life.
Yeah. I mean, if it was, if they didn't keep shutting down, the Silk Roads of the world, people would have a safer avenue to getting drugs because you would know who you're dealing with.
And that's true of everything in the black market. If they stop shutting down the back pages of the world,
right?
The prostitutes wouldn't be dying, but they want the prostitutes to die. And most importantly, they want the cops to be able to rape the prostitutes because that's part of their pay, isn't it? There aren't many jobs where you get to go and commit actual rapes.
There do seem to be a disproportionate number of rapes by cops.
Well, that's because they love power. They love chaining people up.
Rape is a crime of power, not as much as it is sex.
That's a very good way to word it, and that's actually
that's what people say.
I never I never remember the exact phrase to use when I'm trying to make these arguments and points. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what rape is about.
Well, there's that, and then the other phrase you're looking for is wood chipper.
For the politicians or the rapists?
Little column A, little column B.
So she says, we've all made mistakes and none of us want to be defined forever based on our worst decision. Johnson said that during her more than 20 years in prison, she became a playwright, a mentor, a certified hospice volunteer, an ordained minister, and received the Special Olympics Event Coordinator of the Year award for her work with disabled women.
Wow, imagine what she would have been able to accomplish if she hadn't had her life stolen from her.
She said, because the only thing worse than unjustly imprisoning my body is trying to imprison my mind. I never stopped fighting for my freedom. My Christian faith and the years and the prayers of so many kept hope alive. Johnson touted Trump's compassion, saying that, quote, he saw me as a person. Free in body thanks to President Trump, but free in mind thanks to the Almighty God. I always remembered that God knew my name, and even in my darkest hour, but I never thought a president would. Unlike a pardon, the commutation did not erase Johnson's convictions, but did end her sentence until today, where she was pardoned by Trump the day after she gave a speech at the Republican convention yesterday.
But they're saying you're special. You've rehabilitated yourself. It seems to be like that's what they're saying. What they didn't say is your own government went to war with you for no reason and threw you in prison when you did not violate the rights of another. And by doing so, that government violated your rights. And that
they're not saying
doesn't stand.
I would be so much more harsh. Stop calling it a prison. It's a cage. They're literally throwing people in cages.
Well, it's a plantation is what it is
cage.
because they're making slaves.
Yeah. They're
they get you out of the cage to put you to work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so if you want to comment, you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. I mean, that's, again, not to say that this isn't a good thing.
It's a good thing he did, but as he did it, it is an oddity, a curiosity. If he wants to show some real compassion, do it to all of the victims of the war on drugs, because that's all they are. They are victims of their own government committing an atrocity against them, and they need out.
Which is why Trump is sort of this... he's a strange character. On one hand, he's talking about prison reform or criminal justice
reform. But she got
reform.
all Christian-y is the thing, and so he could get that past the right wing.
Yeah. So on one hand, he's talking about these issues, but on the other hand, in his speech, so again, it was his daughter who brought this up. In his speech, of course, he's all talking about how he's so pro-law enforcement. So he's, on one hand, pro-law enforcement, but on the other hand, he's undoing some of the damage that law enforcement has done to some people's lives.
Only if you come to Jesus, though, and perform whatever benediction you have to do before Jerry Falwell or whoever it is that has to, whoever the power broker is signing off on this.
The problem with these one-offs,
show me
pardons.
Everybody that the president. That the government is wronged made whole.
No, it's not happening.
It's a self-interested act that these politicians are doing. This isn't for the benefit of this woman. It's for their
the benefit of Trump.
Yeah, it's for their own uses. And
self-aggrandizement for Trump.
Self-aggrandizement. He always does it to make a woman happy. He always does it to make a beautiful woman happy.
And by the way,
either his daughter or who else was it who approached him? Was it Kim Kardashian?
You nailed it.
Yeah,
that's what. That's
and
how
I don't
this
remember
happened.
what Kim Kardashian does. I don't care, but
she broke the
I
internet,
do notice
apparently.
that Trump isn't doing this, because it's the right thing to do. He's doing it so he gets a conference with Kim Kardashian.
Yes,
and
that's
he
probably
gets,
it.
And she, basically she's whoring for this because she's blowing him in public. And good for her that she's willing to take one for the team, because she is getting somebody out of prison.
I thought there was some sort of weird fetish that he had, but I guess it's
I'm sure he's got weird fetishes, but we can't talk about that on the radio.
Okay. I mean, that's not as weird as fetish. A lot of people have that fetish. I like big butts.
Let's not go too deep into that, so to speak. But you're right. In fact, that was actually the next line here in this story. Is that Johnson's story gained national attention after reality star Kim Kardashian West advocated her release from prison, which is why
I'd give her big strokes because she's mostly doing this for herself, I think.
She
wants these people out of prison. I think she's the one that cares.
She does seem to care about this. In fact, that's why
nobody notices that because nobody cares.
So the daughter,
who?
The daughter?
No, it's Kim Kardashian. So daughter of
Mr. Kardashian? I have no idea.
No, daughter of what used to be Mr. Jenner, but now is Miss
Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner.
But what's her name now? Caitlyn Jenner.
I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about Trump's daughter here. So
Trump's
we're
daughter,
talking about Kim Kardashian.
No, Trump's daughter gave the introduction speech last night. It was Trump's daughter who was positioning him as this anti-war candidate. She was positioning him as this prison reformer.
Where's the beef? He moved a few soldiers from Syria to Iraq. We want them here.
Yeah.
And we want the bases shut down.
Well, I don't want them here either, but...
Well, I want the soldiers here. I want them home.
Down. Yeah, send them home.
Shut the military down.
Tell them to get a real job.
If they're home and unemployed, that's fine. We'll find them a job.
Yeah, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. There's a little bit more to this story about what came after her being commuted. So again, her sentence was commuted back in 2018. He pardoned her today. And there's a little bit more you need to know about the First Step Act, which is something that Trump signed. And we did talk about it at the time, but we'll refresh you on it coming up.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. Chinese banks limit customers' ability to buy gold. Chinese flooding and potential dam collapse threatens many Bitcoin operations. Withdrawals from crypto exchanges increase, indicating perhaps more people are holding their coin for themselves. Tentative agreement met to stabilize Bitcoin Cash mining in conjunction with the currency's third birthday. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Doodle, Stuart, Harold, and Pork Chop. Pork Chop, his beautiful blonde coat is very thick. He's an Akita, German Shepherd, Lab, Husky mix. They did a DNA test on the 4 rescues. The first year is just a complete retraining. Lots of love, discipline, and daily upkeep. I'm a registered nurse and a personal trainer. If I eat healthy, then my dog should eat healthy. DINOVITE.com. They need the vitamins and minerals that Dynovite provides.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Harold, the Border Collie Pit Mix, has the most beautiful jet black coat. Stuart, my rat terrier, has fur now where he never had it before. Doodle, he's a poodle cocker spaniel. His energy is tremendous. The Dynovite will make your dog happy, vivacious, jump up and down, wag their tails. It will make you smile.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynovite at DINOVITE.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait, now. Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Or call in on our Discord call-in lines, which I think is where all of our calls have come from tonight. We've got a couple more on hold right now. We'll get over to those. But if you're not on our Discord server, get on in there. It's discord.lrn.fm. It's actually mostly
Discordia.
It's actually mostly a chat room or multiple chat rooms where there's different topics. Lots of people are in the on-air now chat generally while we're on the air, but there's other topics such as coronavirus, riots, on-air or news stories, show prep, Goldbacks, the New Hampshire. There's all kinds of stuff there, so check it out.
Goldbacks rock.
Yeah, check out that that forum over there at Discord. Discord.lrn.fm. And thanks to Intercoin, every member of a community can receive a periodic airdrop of money that they can use on necessities. This UBI can be funded by outside donors or by the community democratically voting to gradually inflate their internal money supply. Community currencies powered by Intercoin enable communities to help their own without waiting for the federal government and without disincentivizing paid work. The arrangement is completely voluntary and democratic. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org as we go to your calls and thoughts. We've got Covington's Bear on the line. You're on Free Talk Live.
All right, we're calling in about all the stuff going on around the country. We got Denton, Texas, Rockford, Illinois, St. Louis, Missouri, Kenosha, Wisconsin, Chicago is popping off as well.
What's going on? Are these all protest hotspots right now?
Protests.
Are they on fire?
You got Washington D.C., armed men in Denton, Texas.
What happened in Denton, Texas? That's a town outside of Dallas. My uncle lives there.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a big Black Lives Matter town.
It normally isn't, but they have gone out to the suburbs and they are marching through the suburbs. Looks like a big group of Black Lives Matter individuals carrying rifles.
Carrying rifles?
Interesting.
They're taking my advice?
Yeah, then you got Rockford, Illinois doing the same thing. St. Louis, Missouri.
What is it that sparked it in these places? Because we know that in Waukesha or wherever, Wisconsin, that it was the shooting of a man.
Well, you remember I was telling you that Trump, that there was going to be that rally in D.C.
Nobody brings a knife to a gunfight
around
twice.
the country stuff.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed. What was it that sparked these things in Denton and Rockford?
It's the DC protests. Remember the other day?
What happened in DC? I'm sorry. There's a lot of protests.
Yeah, we were talking the other day. This is pizza. We were talking the other day, and I told you that there was going to be a protest on the 28th in DC against Trump.
Okay.
With Al Sharpton and a bunch of other idiots.
Oh, okay.
And that's happening right now. But to all the people who couldn't go, there's protests.
There's
now
local
happening all
versions.
over the
There's
country.
local versions of the DC thing.
And are you telling me they're marching through the streets with rifles?
They're marching through the streets with rifles in Denton, Texas. I see people with guns in Chicago. I have right now 12 different live streams up on my computer that I'm monitoring.
As a militiaman, I have to say, They have a right to do that, and nobody has a right to stop them. But in order to exercise that right, if they're going to be the militia, they have to be very careful that nobody innocent gets hurt, and that's not impossible, because I've seen the Black Panthers behave with incredible discipline. With discipline that Black Lives Matter hasn't shown.
I mean, as much as I like the idea of people being careful with guns, obviously, I am not. Honestly, like, the government is doing so much damage as it is. It's hard to imagine that even with some casual casualties, it's going to be it's not going to be hopefully for the better.
Well, there are going to be casualties, because whenever you take a group of men and you mobilize them with guns, some of them hurt themselves and some of them die, and both of those. But you also know that if you're going to war, that some people are not going to survive that war. War does not determine who is right. War determines who is left.
Well, now, of course, we also know, as far as D.C. protests go, that I believe, the 17th of September, they're expecting to begin a new Occupy in D.C. right outside of the White House. Now, I forget.
But if they do this one armed, that changes everything.
I don't know if that's going to happen, because in D.C. you will get arrested if you are armed. But then again, if there's enough of them, then that'll change. The
Bonus Army didn't get arrested until they did.
They got shot at, didn't they?
Well, they didn't get arrested until they did,
but it was a long time.
Go ahead. Say again.
Is it wrong that I want to see this happen? That I want to see a situation where the citizens of the United States stand up against Marxism and stand up against these totalitarians who think that they can.
Well, I suspect. Hold on there, Pizza. Because
we may be looking at different totalitarians here.
Well,
I think we
hold on.
may have different sympathies.
From what I understand, it's likely going to be Marxists who are the ones protesting in D.C. It's going to be a heavily leftist crowd that will be there protesting for what they're planning to be 50 days. And I'm sorry, I forget what they're calling this particular protest. There is a name for it, but it's basically the Occupy people, the same people who organized at Zuccotti Park. I think, what is their name? I had it up the other day. It's like,
I was there the year after and helped them retake Zuccotti Park, actually. So they're a bunch of scumbags. I was there during their rallies in North Carolina,
I think that's them.
In 2012. They're real scumbags.
Yeah, so those, I think they call themselves Adbusters, if I recall correctly. And so the idea is they're planning on occupying the Pennsylvania Avenue or wherever, like right outside the White House, for 2 months, roughly.
How long
50 days.
have we been saying, don't take your fight to innocent people, take your fight to the people who are killing you? Who's killing them? The government.
Exactly.
Where are they taking the fight? To the government. That's the right answer. I'm down with that.
I'm glad I got to smoke a blunt in front of the White House, about 150 feet from the front door before all this stuff happened, and now it's all closed off. Now you can't even get within an eighth of a mile. It's the whole park that's in front of the White House, that's closed off now.
Is the street closed?
What that tells me is that the president is a coward, because the Libertarian vice presidential candidate, Spike, he goes out and he chills with armed black people. He's not afraid of them.
Yeah, but they don't want to kill him.
Oh, well, maybe maybe Donald Trump should take a look at why Black Lives Matter might be angry at him.
And I'm voting for Trump.
You can do that. I'm not. I'm voting for Joe Jorgensen. But
that's the Libertarian presidential
that is the Libertarian
candidate.
For president.
I voted for her in the primary, but I got to vote for Trump for the lulz.
You voted for her in the primary. There's usually not a Libertarian primary.
Well, there is if you make it to the convention.
Were you at the convention? Were you at the Libertarian convention?
I don't want to go into details because then people know my real identity.
Okay, gotcha.
Are you? Is a secret squirrel? Secret squirrel?
No.
Is this you?
I enjoy the idea of the lulz of Trump winning, so I got to help him with that.
Well, your vote won't make a difference either way, but thank you for the call tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. So apparently this location they're going to have this protest is Lafayette Square in D.C., I don't know where that is in relation to anything else, but if you know D.C., then you'll know where this is happening. It's starting on the 17th of next month. There's more coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course you're invited to join us here. The number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
From mid-March to mid-July of this year, Divvy, the new easy-to-use cryptocurrency we've been promoting here on Free Talk Live, increased in value by over 10 times. Now, of course, Divvy could continue going up. You don't know what the future holds. We certainly don't, but so far we've been pretty happy with our decision to hook up with Divvy a year ago. Now, they are working on a wallet behind the scenes. Actually, it was the release of their beta wallet privately that happened to correlate with their big price jump this year. You can go to DivvyProject.org and begin earning Divvy by starting up a masternode, or you can stake Divvy. They even have a lottery for those who are staking Divvy, so you can learn more at DivvyProject.org, DIVIProject.org. As we continue here, more with your calls and thoughts. Dave Ridley is on the line on our Discord server from RidleyReport.com. Go ahead, Dave.
So you guys have been following David LaRue, right? Am I saying his name right?
I think that's right. He's the organizer of the Mask Freedom event that happened here in Keene. He had organized one prior to that in Plymouth, New Hampshire. And I believe he did one last weekend in Portsmouth.
Well, I think actually that is tomorrow, because that's what I was calling to announce, is that tomorrow at 10 a.m., August 29th, they are running a demonstration in Portsmouth.
Yeah, I think they did one last week in Portsmouth as well. It was a march last week, and I think they're doing a demonstration. I think they're staying in one place tomorrow. So, and then there's another event that's happening tomorrow evening in Weirs Beach out at the final day of Bike Fest or Bike Week. Which unfortunately there's been apparently quite a crackdown. I don't know what the reality is, though, because the media, the mainstream media, wants you to believe one thing, and I think the reality on the ground is probably different. But Bike Week supposedly is more COVID-friendly this time around, unlike Sturgis, which kept to its true kind of nature. So I don't know if the reality is that the bikers are just ignoring this crap, but it sounded, again, the mainstream media wants to paint a picture.
The first thing that I heard is that they changed the date of it.
They did. They pushed it back 2 months.
And then they changed it again 1 week back.
Okay, I hadn't heard that part.
After people had made a lot of reservations.
Oh, wow.
That sounds to me like they were trying to split the pack.
Could be.
Which could have been government orders. Maybe the government got to somebody. Maybe they blackmailed somebody. But
so what's happening tomorrow, Dave?
It's just a standard demonstration from what I know. I don't know if they're doing anything other than just, holding signs and waving. But it's supposed to be at North Church of Portsmouth. It just says, quote, "We are fighting a mask ordinance the city is pushing for. We must continue to hit."
Uh-oh. The censors have come on the line and cut him off. We lost you, Dave. I don't know what happened to your connection there, but it is good that folks are out there doing these events. They're, standing up for some semblance of freedom. Some people, this mask issue has really pushed them over the edge. There's a lot of folks who've said this is it. This is, it's gone too far. I even had a Keene cop stop and talk to us. You were on the porch for it too, for like 5-10 minutes the other day, just expressing how frustrated he was with how far government has gone.
I said, hey, if you want to come over to our side, we got a place for you.
Here. We're here. And I said to him, everybody's got their limits.
Hand him a gun.
He already has one.
Oh, that's right.
But
hand us a gun.
Yeah, really.
So, any other comments, guys, on the protests, the mask freedom events that are going on?
Okay. Well, I guess I did want to say one other thing about the other protests.
Which other ones?
Which the Black Lives Matter protests that I was talking about.
Okay, yeah, we can go back to that too.
The only thing I wanted to do is throw in a disclaimer in that I support the protests. I do not support the looting.
That's right.
But
me too.
Like where I draw the line is if they're going after the government, that's fine because the government has declared war on them.
I mean,
but if they're going after me, something's wrong because I'm not on.
I would say I have no problem with them looting the police stations and the Congress buildings.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Public
schools. Go to town.
Anybody can do that. Overthrow
any
the
kind
government.
of government.
Please,
any kind of government entity. I think is fair.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Go right ahead. Do whatever you want to a government building. It doesn't bother me one bit. But if you're breaking the windows and destroying the businesses of individuals, families, I mean, that is just completely uncalled for. It is not helping your cause. It's just violence. It's destruction, and it is awful, and shame on them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, my position as a politician, and nobody tells the truth, so I'm actually gonna say where I'm actually at, what it is that I want. I want Black Lives Matter as an ally. I want them as an ally because I think they've got a legitimate grievance, for one thing, an extraordinarily legitimate grievance. But I also share some of that grievance in that, the war on drugs, for example, was directed at two groups of people:
the hippies,
blacks
and the blacks,
hippies.
and the Hispanics.
That's true. Earlier, it was the Hispanics, and I'm sure it's come back to the Hispanics from time to time. But the thing is, but there's a more general thing, which it comes back to something that Ayn Rand wrote, which is there is no way to rule free men. You can only rule criminals. So if your society does not produce enough criminals to give you the power that you want, you start passing more laws
to make more criminals.
And you pass laws until men can't turn around without becoming criminal. Okay?
That's how it is now.
And then you use that. And what do you use that for? You take the right to vote. You take the right to keep and bear arms.
From the criminals.
From the so-called criminals, but they're not criminals because they didn't hurt somebody.
Right, like this lady Alice Johnson, who went to prison for her life, was luckily commuted by Donald Trump. Let's go back to...
and good for her for that. I wish he would do all of them.
Yeah. And I know that apparently he was speaking today in New Hampshire, and I believe Lynn Ulbricht, who is Ross Ulbricht's mother, for listeners that don't know, Ross is the guy who created the Silk Road, and we still have to talk about the underground drug marketplaces here in a little bit tonight. But they went out to the Trump rally today with Free Ross signs, and I expect the laser was there, the Free Ross laser.
But I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't. I would have been there.
I heard something about it, I think, but no, you wouldn't have been able to go because you had a debate to attend to. But they had that going, and so kudos to them. They're still trying to get Trump's attention. They're still trying to get Kim Kardashian's attention to get Ross Ulbricht a pardon and get him out of prison.
If they can get Kim Kardashian's attention, they might get Trump's attention.
That's the idea. That's what her plan has been the whole time. Let's talk to Dylan. He's in New Hampshire. Dylan, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Dylan, what's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to let you guys know I got pulled over. Well, I didn't get pulled over. Sorry, I was off the side of the road in Merrimack, I believe off of Route 3 Tuesday night, driving back from Hudson, pulled over because I was too tired to drive. And about 3 in the morning, Merrimack police officers knocking on the window. And, I'm dead asleep, so I wake up. And
hold on, wait a minute. You were sleeping while driving, or you were on the side of the road asleep?
I was pulled off the side of the road, so I wasn't even on the side of the road. Right?
Okay.
So this is one thing that.
So just to be clear, you weren't driving while tired. You noticed you were tired while driving, and you pulled over to go to sleep.
Right.
Like a responsible
Correct.
person.
Yeah,
okay, got it.
Yeah, I started doing the dozing off, and I'm like, nope, I'm pulling over. I'm
not worth
sleep.
it.
I'll make it back to my destination in the morning.
Yep.
So 3 in the morning, cop knocks on my window. And, I'm not really sure what's going on. I just, I wake up and then I hear some more like knocking and yelling. And I'm like, I realize it's a cop and I just yell to him, I'm sleeping. And he's like, I need to see some ID. And I yell at him again, I'm sleeping.
So rude.
I'm annoyed at this point. Yeah.
You have no.
So
if you're in New
wanted
Hampshire,
to hurry up and get you for a DUI.
If you're in New Hampshire, you've got no obligation to show them ID if you're assuming you're not driving.
Well, you're not an attorney, but that's an interesting idea.
Well, that's what I've been told by attorneys.
Yeah, let's
in New
talk.
Hampshire,
Let's talk about that coming up here. Dylan, can you hang on to tell the rest of the story?
Sure.
All right, more with Dylan here in moments. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Just trying to sleep, trying to get some rest, trying to be a responsible driver, and the cops, giving him a hard time. We'll find out what happened. Coming up here in moments, this is Free Talk Live.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have 2 convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Attention radio listeners, have you ever wanted to be independent of the utility companies and actually generate your own supply of off-grid electrical power? If so, this is going to be the most important message you'll ever hear. Here's why. A limited number of solar-powered backup generators are back in stock and now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. And unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces an endless supply of free electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running silently, secretly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, even keep food from spoiling. Go to mysolarbackup.com to learn more. That's mysolarbackup.com. Supplies are still limited and are available on a first-come, first-served basis only. mysolarbackup.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Do you have a WordPress website running WooCommerce and want to accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV? Now you can easily enable crypto payments from your customers by adding the AnyPay plugin to your WordPress site. Just visit AnyPayInc.com and set up your account by entering your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the admin. Then enable the AnyPay plugin in your WooCommerce. That's it. Now your website takes crypto like Bitcoin thanks to AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us here. You can bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Thanks, by the way, to Dave Burns, who is a Free Talk Live Platinum amplifier. Dave contributes $25 a month at least to the show. So thank you for helping us get on more radio stations. The AMP program stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It is a simple concept. Dave is helping us out, and you can do it too. We only ask for $5 a month. He's going way over and above that, so we appreciate it. But all we ask is $5 a month, or you can do Bitcoin, BTC. You can do credit card, debit card, PayPal, Bitcoin over at amp.freetalklive.com. You get some cool perks. You get some bennies. for doing that, and we definitely appreciate it, and it helps us get the ideas of freedom out there to more people on broadcast radio and elsewhere. amp.freetalklive.com. Get signed up there. That's amp.freetalklive.com. We go back to Dylan. He's in New Hampshire. Dylan, you were... Everything all right there? Dylan?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. There's a lot of noise there in the background.
Oh, sorry.
You in front of like a Xerox machine?
Sounds like it.
I'm cashing out at Home Depot. Sorry,
Okay.
I'll stand away from the TV.
It's fine, dude, man. I'll just turn you down here just a moment. So we got Dylan on the line here. I'll just recap his story, and then we'll see if he's done with his Home Depot purchase. But he was parked alongside of the road. He's not calling us from jail, at least, so that's a good sign,
right?
Good thing.
He was parked alongside of the road. It was overnight. He had been driving, was feeling tired. Noticed he might be in the sort of the nodding off, getting too tired to drive kind of phase, and so he did the responsible thing, the thing that you're supposed to do when you're too sleepy to drive, which is pull over at the first safe opportunity and go the F to sleep, and then you wake up when you're refreshed enough to keep going. But some cop decided that he was going to give Dylan a hard time, and so at 3 a.m, you awoke to a banging on your door or your driver's side window, and so tell us what happened.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, when I realized someone was like knocking on my window, I realized it was a cop pretty much right away, because I was going to do that to you in the middle of the night, like this, okay? And I yelled, "I'm sleeping," before I even got up. I did that like 2 times as he, yelled it, "I need to see some ID." And, finally I realized it's not going to leave me alone. So I get up, I sit up in the driver's seat, because my head was in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
My legs were spread out across the front bench seat of the truck. And so then I decided I'm going to start recording for safety.
Good.
And the whole time I'm like, as I'm getting up and getting ready to record, I'm asking him, what reasonable suspicion he has that I committed a crime, or about to commit a crime. As far as I know, you're supposed to have reasonable suspicion if you're going to order someone to identify themselves. And so he just says he doesn't need any.
It's not correct.
And so
Is this a state police officer or like a local town cop?
I know his name too.
Oh my God! I think you might have just said something you're not supposed to say on the radio.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to
My
keep
bad.
you on. I'm going to keep you on here. Normally, I don't do that, but we know you, so we're going to give you another chance at this. Please don't say anything you're not supposed to say. All right. So, what were you trying to say there?
Gotcha. Sergeant, and I have a video recording, so his name's on that at least. So, he just says that he doesn't need reasonable suspicion, and I kind of badgered him on this like a couple times. I'm like, so you're telling me I need to identify myself, and you don't have any reasonable suspicion, and you don't need it? And he says yes. He confirms it, and I kind of repeat this for the video as I'm getting my ID, and I ask him, I'm like, so you're not just asking me, you're ordering it? And he says yes. And absolutely no reasonable suspicion. Doesn't even ask to see the registration or anything like that. Of course, I'm rocking the Montana plates, so you can't even tell who's driving. It's like he doesn't even care.
Well, isn't New Hampshire one of those? Again, I'm not an attorney, but isn't New Hampshire one of those states where they can ask to have you identify yourself? I don't know. Is reasonable suspicion required for that, or is it just because they're a cop?
They can demand anything they want, basically, but it's explicitly written into the statute that they can demand ID. But you have no obligation to provide it. There's not a penalty. There's not a charge for refusing, unless you're in a vehicle driving
and he wasn't driving,
pulled over or something of that nature. Yeah. So there's another statute like police misconduct or something like that, which does have a clause that says something about having to ID. But again, that's relating to driving.
Right.
So.
All right, so what happened?
Yeah. So we kind of just had it out for a minute. He took my ID, went back. He didn't end up doing anything except for telling me I had to move along because I could potentially be prowling. And I also clarified with him. I'm like, so I'm not hurting anybody, right? And he's like, well, not that I can tell. Actually, I sent the video to Rich, so you check his Facebook to see it. But,
groovy.
So he agrees that there's, I haven't harmed anybody. Nobody called in to complain, and I haven't injured anybody. So like he basically says there's no crime, and I have no reasonable suspicion, but I'm ordering you to ID myself, to ID yourself, and I'm curious if I have a lawsuit. And actually, Jay said that you might know somebody that works for the ACLU I'd love to.
I don't. I mean,
contact them.
I don't. Can't say I have a particularly close relationship with any of the folks over there, but it it never hurts to run a case past them to see what they would say. In this case, there really wasn't that much damage, so I don't know how much you're going to be able to do legally. In
Generally, they can lie to you, so it's probably not the case that there's going to be, and even if they did break the law, they're generally immune from it. So unless it's a First Amendment type of case or something, some constitutional situation that's been ruled by the Constitution, and then if your circumstances are identical to that, you're probably not going to be able to win a civil case against the police.
Dylan, thanks for the call tonight, man. Let us know if anything develops with this case. I definitely appreciate hearing from you tonight. It's going to be a tough one because you didn't get arrested, so it's like, what can you really do to these guys?
Yeah, they're not going to find any damages there, is my prediction. But I will say that there's one piece of good news is that, although it probably won't pass, Justin Amash actually put in, as I understand it, a bill to end sovereign immunity.
Qualified immunity or sovereign immunity?
I'm not sure which,
and I'm not sure what the difference is. But I've heard both terms.
Got a limited idea of what the difference is, but I believe sovereign immunity is what was said. But don't quote me.
Qualified immunity is what's been getting all the conversation recently since the George Floyd situation. I want to go to Derek. He's on the line. Derek J. Freeman is with us here on our Discord lines. Go ahead, Derek.
Whoa, make America great again, guys. I was just at a Trump rally, and I am full of high energy.
Really?
I heard about this Trump rally phenomenon where everyone's excited and having a good time, and then he lands on the tarmac and, Air Force One, and the crowd goes wild. The music's perfect. It was so much fun. And, I went there to support Ross Ulbricht, who everyone knows is the next pardon for Trump. He's lining them up. Get all the pardons out, and Ross Ulbricht is the next one. Everyone knows freeross.org. Go look him up if you haven't heard
I
of
appreciate
it.
your optimism.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that. Nobody knows that, but...
Oh, sure. Well, I do, because I just talked to dozens of people, and everyone I was talking to was on board. They were like, that doesn't sound right. Trump will pardon him right away. So they're going to sign the petition at freeross.org, and if you're listening and you haven't done that, add your name to that. There's 250,000 people who have signed it. If we get more, we're going to get Trump's attention, and then we're going to get Ross free. It's just a matter of days.
Let me just try to understand what happened here. So Trump was having a campaign rally in New Hampshire, and Free Ross supporters from freeross.org, people who want to see Ross Ulbricht get a pardon. Ross is the creator of the Silk Road, the world's first underground drug marketplace, which we'll talk about those coming up here in the third hour. How many of the Free Ross supporters came out for this thing?
Well, with less than 24 hours notice, because this rally happened out of nowhere,
Really?
we had one person from Nashua, one from Portsmouth, one from Exeter, one from D.C., one from Keene, and guess how many from Manchester, the city where it took place?
0.
One.
All right.
Hey!
Wait, there was really one person who showed up, and it was in their own city? Oh,
Yes, Manchester
so there
is
were like 30
pathetic. If you're
people there?
considering moving to New Hampshire for more freedom, do not move to Manchester unless you are totally pathetic and weak and you don't want to do anything to increase freedom. Because
Damn.
that is the place where liberty goes to die. No
I
one
thought that
cares
was
about
grafted.
doing anything there.
But
do not move there.
Yeah, Manchester's really sad. I mean, they have the
I've
most.
seen some good things done in Manchester.
Yeah, well, they got the most
Nothing
movers, and they get 0 headlines.
It's the number of people that that's so disappointing with Manchester. It's not
Right,
that
they should be everywhere.
They should have 10 times as many people as Keene.
They
should
do.
have 10 times as many people as
They
Portsmouth.
do have 10 times as many
but not
people.
coming out to events and
Right.
protests and when we go to the courthouse or state house. I mean, how often do you see somebody from Manchester? It's
Very
almost
slim.
never. Or it's like less than Keene or less than
Well,
Portsmouth.
Here's their problem. They need to learn how to pick up a video camera, and everyone needs to learn this lesson no matter where you live. Don't get mad, get video. Dave Ridley says it all the time.
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely true because he called in. Was there a rally in Portsmouth last week? Nobody knows. Nobody got any video.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there tomorrow.
Wow.
I'm going to get video, and you're going to know that it happened.
Thank you for that, Derek J. Was
Yeah,
there more
thank
you
you.
wanted to share, or were you off for the night?
Oh, that everyone booed the order to wear a mask.
Order from who?
But did they follow
They
it?
came over the loudspeaker. They were like, in keeping with New Hampshire Order 43, we ask that you wear a mask.
Did they do it, though?
No one did it.
Nice.
Good.
More coming up. Thanks, Derek J.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
They won't interfere. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The top military officer tells Congress the military has nothing to do with the election process.
General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told Congress that in the event of a dispute of some aspect of the election, by U.S. law, courts and Congress will resolve them, not the U.S. military. In written responses to questions from the House Armed Services Committee, Milley says he believes deeply in the principle of an apolitical military, and he foresees no role for the U.S. Armed Forces in the election process. Questions were raised by Democratic members of the committee after President Trump refused to guarantee he would accept the election results, citing fraud concerns associated with mail-in voting. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
President Trump with a campaign stop in New Hampshire tonight where he told the crowd he has the honor of running against what he called the worst candidate put up by the Democrats, while the Biden campaign announcing some upcoming campaign events in states that may be up for grabs.
Joe Biden is about to try to make up for lost time on the trail with in-person events. In 3 states Trump won last time, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and 1 state Clinton won, Minnesota. This appears to represent a shift from last week when Biden projected confidence about his chances in a mostly virtual race.
Fox's Peter Ducey. Health officials in North Carolina's Mecklenburg County say 4 people who were at the Republican National Convention in Charlotte have tested positive for COVID-19. A local TV station reported those who tested positive were immediately isolated. The county says nearly 800 people were tested who attended or who helped support it. A federal judge has rejected the bid by the New York Times to dismiss Sarah Palin's defamation lawsuit over an editorial she says wrongly linked her to a 2011 mass shooting. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's only halfway over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed.com is the #1 job site in the world because Indeed gets you the best people fast. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need. You can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. Plus, Indeed provides powerful tools to make your search that much easier. With 73% of online job seekers visiting Indeed each month, Indeed is going to get you the important hire you need, just like they have for over 3 million businesses. Right now, Indeed is offering our listeners a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Try Indeed out with a free $75 credit at Indeed.com/Fox. This is their best offer available anywhere. Go right now to Indeed.com/Fox. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid through September 30th.
A former Army officer who had been captured by the Taliban in Afghanistan after leaving his post, losing a battle in court.
A legal setback for former Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces has rejected Bergdahl's legal challenge to his court-martial conviction for deserting his post in Afghanistan. Among the claims made by Bergdahl in his appeal are comments President Trump made as a candidate calling Bergdahl a traitor and later as president, which Bergdahl argued resulted in unlawful command influence on his prosecution. Bergdahl can next ask the U.S. Supreme Court to review his case. In Washington, John Decker, Fox News.
The Trump administration reportedly plans to reduce the number of troops in Iraq from 5,200 to 3,500 by November. Some law school graduates in Hawaii say they're nervous about taking the bar exam because of coronavirus.
The Hawaii bar exam scheduled at a convention center in Honolulu over 2 days, September 9th and 10th. Some of the people taking it say they're worried about being in a single room with up to 200 people for 8 hours a day. The American Bar Association recommends that states postpone in-person because of the pandemic. Some are being held online with software problems happening. Some are being conducted by mail. Hawaii's Supreme Court already postponed this test from July. It's offering 2-year provisional licenses for people who want to skip the bar and work under an established attorney. The risk there is losing that license if you take the exam and fail during those 2 years. Chris Foster, Fox News.
An Alabama man facing conspiracy and other fraud-related charges after prosecutors say he manufactured homemade and untested cancer drugs in his kitchen and marketed them to so-called alternative medicine doctors in the U.S., Mexico, and elsewhere. Prosecutors say the man claimed the drugs, which contain a compound he bought from China, were effective. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Hewlett-Packard is known for their basic, no-frills computers, but that doesn't mean they can't keep up with the latest technology. In a press release yesterday, HP said, quote, "We are excited to begin offering that cloud thing that everyone is talking about. We definitely have the cloud on our computers, and it is better than anyone else's cloud." Earlier today, I sat down with HP spokesman Gary Klinman, who said the company couldn't wait to show people, quote, how they do their cloud stuff.
We are absolutely thrilled that now people with computers or phones, both will now be able to back things up to the cloud.
Klinman says it isn't surprising they're, quote, up on the cloud, considering they're on the cutting edge of all the latest tech trends. Are there any additional features?
Crowdsourcing is something we are having. Crowdsourcing 2.0. We have social sharing. We have 5G, 6G, really all the Gs. We have app. We have all of it in the computer.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. Just head over to discord.lrn.fm. You can get interactive with other listeners there, and you can join the on-air call-in line rooms, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us tonight. That includes me, Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
Of course, you can bring up anything, but we're talking about drug reform and criminal justice reform also on a wider topic. But
government control.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. Nobody wants to take your government away. We just want to have some common sense government control.
Well, I think nobody does want to take the government away.
Yeah.
I would.
Well,
want
that's
to take
what I
the
said.
government.
Nobody wants to take it away.
So we were talking about a lady who was set free from prison. Her sentence was commuted after 22 years behind bars. Her name, Alice Marie Johnson. And she got a mention last night during the speech prior to Donald Trump. His daughter spoke to introduce him, and she was trying to position him as this reformer for criminal justice and cited this lady as an example because Trump, I guess, commuted her sentence back in 2018. And she was a cocaine trafficker, allegedly, and she was in prison for that.
It sounds like she was a girl who got caught up with cocaine trafficking.
That's what it
And
sounded like.
they always suffer the worst because they don't have anybody to sell out.
Right.
They don't know anything.
It was her first time conviction, and she got a life sentence with no parole. So she was there for 20 plus years. So Trump set her free, and kudos to him for that. But as you pointed out, nobody in the last hour, what he didn't do was pardon thousands more who are just like her, who could be doing something productive right now outside of a prison cell, but instead to send a message which never works, they've been set behind bars for decades of their lives.
Well, they did send a message, and the message they sent was Black lives don't matter, stoner lives don't matter, hippie lives don't matter. That's the message that they sent. You don't matter. You are crap.
Yeah, it's like winning a lottery ticket, basically.
You mean she won the lottery ticket in this case?
Yes, she did.
Now, they do mention here in this story, and this is Fox News reporting on this, about the First Step Act, which came 6 months...
Every year a turkey gets a pardon.
Yeah. It came 6 months after commuting her sentence. We talked about this when it happened because it was some level of criminal justice reform, but as its title suggests, it is just the babiest of baby steps. It's called the First Step Act. There's very little that it does of any significance. However, for some people, it has had an effect. It points out here that the law gives federal judges more leeway when sentencing some drug offenders and boosts prisoner rehabilitation efforts. It also reduces life sentences for some drug offenders with 3 convictions or 3 strikes to 25 years. Another provision of the legislation allowed about 2,600 federal prisoners sentenced for crack cocaine offenses before August of 2010 the opportunity to petition for a reduced penalty. So again, these aren't like the best reforms out there. It's not something.
Ron Paul.
Is this the national or is this state?
This is federal.
This is federal. What they need to do is to suspend the fair sentencing guidelines. Those are the laws that basically say you have to sentence
the minimum sentencing.
Yeah. Well, it's called the fair sentencing
minimums,
guidelines. But it basically sets a minimum that a judge can basically send minimum for the crime basically,
and look,
and the circumstances of that crime.
Judges hate defendants. They have to, or they couldn't continue to do their jobs. So because they're ruining their lives every day. So if a judge thinks you don't belong in prison, you probably are due for a sainthood. You know, you have to be an extraordinary person if a judge doesn't think that you should be in prison, because the judges think we should all be in prison.
That's their job, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's their job. Put as many people in prison as possible, because that's the plantation.
But there have been times where judges have bemoaned mandatory minimum, and they've said they wish they could sentence somebody less, but my hands are tied by these mandatory minimums.
And
so
the real people who get upset are the really good defense attorneys know how to pay off the judge. But if you can't pay off, you can't pay off the judge if there's a mandatory minimum. I mean, you can, but
they can't do anything about it. So to whatever extent the First Step Act does give judges more leeway when sentencing some drug offenders, then good for that. I'm glad to hear that that's happening. The law also incentivizes prisoners to participate in programs designed to reduce the risk of recidivism, with the reward of getting an earlier release to either home confinement or a halfway house to complete their sentence. That provision, however, is not available to offenders who are convicted of violent firearms offenses, sexual exploitation of children, or high-level heroin and fentanyl dealing. The bill also expands eligibility for elderly or terminally ill prisoners to secure a compassionate release. So again, it is just a first step. It would have been nice to have just, wiped out all the convictions for all nonviolent drug offenders overnight, but unfortunately this is the government we're talking about, and they generally don't change that fast.
Well, Mr. Trump, as a candidate for governor, let me tell you what a non-milquetoast candidate is going to do. A candidate who stands up for his people. When I take office in New Hampshire as governor, if I do, which I may,
it's possible.
I will pardon every non-victim crime, every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. So that means every drug conviction gone, unless you slipped drugs into somebody's drink against their will, because that has a victim. Every gun conviction gone, unless you actually shot somebody or threatened to shoot somebody, because that has a victim. But just having a gun is not a crime.
Is it every nonviolent crime is what you're saying?
I am saying I'm saying every victimless crime, and the difference between victimless and nonviolent,
and that's why I was wondering,
is trespassing is nonviolent, but it's not necessarily victimless.
So it's
victimless if the so-called victim is the state, because the state doesn't exist.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think you could actually go farther than you're going, even potentially.
I could go farther than I'm going, but I have to leave something for my second term, or I'm not going to get reelected.
Now the real truth comes out.
Nobody tells the truth in politics, so I have to tell the truth. If I'm not in office, I can't do anything for anybody.
Well, I'll take it.
So. But the other thing that you have to know is, according to the New Hampshire Constitution, I have to have the advice of the executive council. But that's different from what the U.S. Constitution, for example, gives to the Senate in They get advice and consent. So my interpretation of that is I have to listen to them, but I don't have to do what they say.
Yeah.
And they may filibuster me. They may be like, you've got to sit in this chair and listen to 30 hours before we're going to say you've listened to it. And I'll do it if I have to.
Yep.
You're
going to be sitting in the chair signing a lot of pardons, which is well worth the time. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is a labor of love.
Yeah.
I will
live stream it.
I will do that.
Read every name as you.
I will.
Sign
I will do that, and maybe
you'll be done after a month.
How long will it take? On the one hand, I want to say just let them walk out of the prison the minute I say their name, because I know how it is when the judges ordered you released,
and it's weeks before.
It's days or it's weeks before you get out, and it's like, this is still my life, guys.
Yeah, it's government for you.
But the thing is, I don't know how to do that exactly, because I don't want to make a spectacle out of it. I want to do it.
Just shut the prisons down. Most of them are nonviolent, offenders anyway.
Well, most of them, yes.
You're better
but
off.
Not all of them.
You're better off releasing everybody, I think, than not. I mean, the people who are actually committing violent offenses will commit violent offenses again, and it's not.
I think you're going to have a hard time.
But I don't get to throw the citizens of New Hampshire as a sacrifice to these.
The moral of the story, though, is you're better off, having 10 free people go than one innocent person, held even a day.
10 guilty people go?
Yeah, whatever the phrase is. Expression.
If somebody's guilty of bad judgment,
I don't care.
And hurting themselves, I don't care.
I don't care.
If somebody's guilty of hurting somebody, you don't. Maybe nobody cares.
You are committing
but nobody
violence
cares
against innocent and peaceful people.
Not innocent.
All right, hold on. 855-450, free like freedom.
His coat is very thick. He's an Akita, German Shepherd, Lab, Husky mix. Harold, the Border Collie Pit mix, has the most beautiful jet black coat. Stuart, my rat terrier, has fur now where he never had it before. DINOVITE.com. Dinovite will give them a beautiful, lustrous coat. It will make you smile.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Chinese banks limit customers' ability to buy gold. Chinese flooding and potential dam collapse threatens many Bitcoin operations. Withdrawals from crypto exchanges increase, indicating perhaps more people are holding their coin for themselves. Tentative agreement met to stabilize Bitcoin Cash mining in conjunction with the currency's third birthday. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, open phones. As always, you're invited here if you want to join us. You can take control of the airwaves. Coming up, we got the latest on the dark net. The underground drug marketplaces continue to be shut down either by the federal gang or be shut down by their own administrators in what is called an exit scam. Right now, it may be too early to say what has happened to Empire Market, which was apparently the largest market out there until, well, they've been shut down over the last few days. We'll tell you more about that.
It's my favorite.
Coming up here in moments with you tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
It wasn't my favorite, but it was the biggest. And we'll get into the details on what happened there, at least what we do know. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We go to your phone calls and thoughts here. Let's start out with your favorite Canadian. He is calling in on our Discord server. And by the way, you can join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. Super easy to do. There's a bunch of Free Talk Live listeners hanging out there every single night, not just at night, but throughout the day. There's a lot of people on Discord. So check that out. It's free. It's discord.lrn.fm. Your favorite Canadian, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going?
What's on your mind?
I heard you guys talking about the schooling yesterday, and I'm right now I'm up in the air of sending my kid back to school or not. We have.
Are you scared of the COVID or the school?
No, to be honest, I feel like the COVID is blown out of proportion, right?
Oh yeah,
right.
And I laugh when you guys say that the school system's a joke, because it really is. And like I want to laugh, but I'm also terrified because I feel like I don't have the patience to teach my kids at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds bad.
Well, then by the way, he just dropped. I think he lost his data connection. He just dropped out of the room. I hope he'll come back because I do want to continue that conversation. What were you going to say? He's not listening. But
well, I mean, what I was going to say back to him was, there's a lot of ways to meet your needs. One thing is there are a lot of people. If there's a subject you're not able to teach yourself, there's somebody who knows how to teach that subject, and for extra money they'll do that. And a website where people could coordinate would be great. But basically, in a very small village in the Old West, imagine this. Imagine Little House on the Prairie. Mm-hmm. Well, what do? 10 parents or 20 parents get together and they hire one teacher to teach their families.
Or they teach their thing that they can teach, and then somebody else teaches the thing that they can teach,
and
right?
That's the other thing. You have some cooperative opportunities.
And the homeschooling community has this stuff, right? Like they've got resources, they've got groups.
But you've got to reach out to them to find it.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I'm saying is I'm not a homeschooler. That's not true. I'm homeschooling a 30-year-old as a computer programmer. But I'm not homeschooling any children because I don't have any children and I don't want any children.
Right.
But I know it's out there, and so go and find it.
Go get connected with those people.
If you send your children to the enemy to be educated,
brainwashed,
they are going to come back and they are going to be
damaged.
The enemy.
They'll be damaged.
Yes. And especially if they're sitting there 6 feet away from the nearest kid, behind plexiglass, like they're some kind of toxic waste.
It's crazy what's going on in the schools right now. But I think the best thing he can do is connect with homeschoolers in wherever we don't know where in Canada he is, but whatever area in Canada, and just reach out to them and say the same thing you said to us. Say, I'm thinking about sending my kid back to school with the government, and let them explain to you why you shouldn't, and give them the opportunity to show you the resources that are available, because these people have been doing it for decades and they know what the options are. So that's where I would start. Is start with the local homeschool groups and sit down with them and have a chat and see what you think after you've really digested the options for the next couple of weeks. That's what I would recommend.
I'm not a big fan of the word homeschool. It kind of makes you think of
how about
stuff
unschool? Do you like unschool?
Yeah, unschool is better because homeschool makes it sound like the parent is going to be teaching, and
that's what they think. Yeah,
it's not necessarily the case, right? Like there's all sorts of subjects that
homeschooling and unschooling aren't the same thing, though.
Right.
In homeschooling, I think generally the parent does teach.
Right.
In unschooling, they don't.
In unschooling, it's self-directed learning, so the child decides for themselves what to do.
Even with homeschooling, though, I think there's frequently classes and things that kids will go and take that are part of a group that's not necessarily like the parent, at home.
Yeah, we got you back here, your favorite Canadian. It sounds like you got disconnected somehow. So what we were recommending that you do is get connected with the local homeschoolers there in your area in Canada.
Sorry, I got cut off there. Did I?
Well, I don't know what happened. We did not cut you off. There was some sort of issue that disappeared you from our channel. So, where in Canada are you?
I'm just outside of Toronto.
Okay, so I would say get together with start tonight by searching online for homeschooling groups in the Hamilton, Toronto, Ontario area, and you will likely find some number of them. Reach out and start asking them questions, and I bet they will be more than happy to explain why you should keep your kids out of these government schools and the benefits of homeschooling, and answer your questions and your concerns about not being able to do it all yourself, because you don't have to. There are resources out there for you, and so that's
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I actually had one more question, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
How do I find libertarian movements in Canada? Is there?
Do you have a microscope?
Good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Because listen. I think it's refreshing, like the anti-government and the way you guys like. Sorry, I've never heard of anything libertarian. I've never. And
well, welcome.
But I'll tell you something.
A lot of people in the media have worked it hard to keep that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when COVID started, I lost my job. I've been listening to you guys overnight. I've been actually listening to you guys not live, because this is the only time I got to listen to you live.
Right.
But normally I'm listening to your what do you call it? Like the replay on Texas Station and other stations. Like, how do I join a Canadian movement for what you guys are doing?
I know there is a Libertarian Party in Canada, and I suspect, like the one in the U.S., they aren't particularly effective or visible, but they are there. I do know that they exist.
Yeah,
so.
But there's another possibility. It depends on your level of commitment and how sure you are, and it also depends on what the Canadian and American authorities say about it. You can also come to New Hampshire. There is an active movement to convince libertarians to move to New Hampshire. And the thing is, it's hard to do from outside the country. And that's one of the reasons I have an issue with immigration laws. Is I need as much backup as I can get to fight for liberty.
You need a microscope everywhere, and that's the whole reason that the migration movement to New Hampshire exists. Is because you're not going to be effective. You're not going to achieve anything if you're alone and spread out in the world. Libertarians in general, and you got to move to be around other people who are like-minded.
One small area, maybe. And if we can do that, then the world can actually see what it looks like when people do what we're talking about. And then there will be a reckoning, because we don't know what it looks like either.
Yeah, at least there's a chance when
there's
you get
together. Better plan. I'm sorry. I would love to hear it if there is, but no one has ever proposed one.
No.
Thank you, your favorite Canadian, for the call and your thoughts tonight. Good luck with the homeschooling project and finding more like-minded folks. Man,
he pretty much
hard.
is my favorite Canadian. He's right.
I don't know. I like the Prince of Pot and his wife. They're pretty cool folks,
They
too.
rock. Emery. Mark
Emery and Jody. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. D-I-V-I Project.org.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that 35% of high school girls report that they've only had sex with 1 or 2 partners a year, instead of having the living shit out of them by any guy they see?
Did you know that only half of all 17-year-old males report without a condom, even though it's really the only way to go?
There are thousands of American teenagers today who are unaware of the full benefits of your brains out all day, every day. These otherwise average high schoolers haven't been taught about every chance you get, pounding each other dry, and never ever pulling out. Every sexually active high school student should know this stuff. Ditch the condoms, because it's always better raw. Stop worrying about STDs. Every chance you get. Just keep and strangers, doesn't matter who. And most importantly, be direct with your partner about how badly you want to their brains out.
This is the Onion News Network.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
The show is Free Talk Live, where you can take control of the airwaves. All you have to do is dial in toll-free and bring up what you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You know, we certainly live in interesting times and frustrating times as well.
Isn't that an ancient Chinese curse?
I think it is.
May you live in interesting times.
Apparently somebody cursed us because we are living in very interesting times. But there are some good things that are going on out there besides all the insanity about the COVID nonsense.
The other Chinese curse?
That's what Trump kept calling it, the Chinese virus, last night during his speech. Bitcoin.com.
Well, it is Chinese.
Well, we don't know that. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com. It's actually been around for more than a year now, and it's where people buy and sell Bitcoin Cash with dozens of payment methods. And it's local.bitcoin.com, so you can go over there and do that. If you're brand new to Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, then just go to bitcoin.com, and you can go to the Get Started section there and get started on your journey down into the world of cryptocurrency. We just got the waitress at the local Pho noodle place here in town today, Fucking Great, which is a wonderful little spot. Nobody, you and I were there, and we turned the waitress on to crypto, got her set up with a crypto wallet.
Oh, nice.
And so it's always cool.
You know, I was thinking that was another waitress at Thirsty Owl.
Oh, I didn't put a note in for which, that was.
Okay. So I'm thinking the note. So I thought the note that was for Thirsty Owl, but you're saying there wasn't a note for the other.
You're referring to so. I know how to explain this.
Sorry, guys.
You're referring to a system that we have here in town that we sort of collaborate on helping bring businesses on board with cryptocurrency. And I put a little note in the file for Fucking Great that we'd gotten this lady on board. But for whatever reason, the robot that puts the message in the forum or the chat room that we have, it stopped mentioning where these notes are being placed.
Right.
So you didn't know that it was Fucking Great. Not
it didn't say it.
Yeah, it didn't say.
Yeah, I thought I noticed something was weird about it.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So we'll get into the darknet marketplace, the Empire market that has closed, or is it a takedown, or is it an exit scam? We can talk about all those things coming up here in moments. But first, let's go to David in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, David. David.
Well, good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, you're on the air.
What's up?
Hey, listen, as I listen, I study 7 decades on Earth here, a couple times in the air on airplanes, but on Earth generally. The complexity of the things. You talked in the last segment about law. Who should be relieved? Who the laws are so stacked. Federal law, state laws, township ordinances, and city laws.
Yeah, you read them all, right?
Oh, God, yes. And, William Barr, I teach him. All kidding aside.
William Barr is the Attorney General, right?
United States Attorney, General Attorney.
The top cop.
He just General Attorney is all.
Yeah.
But the complexity of things. I'm a freedom-loving person, man. Signed my oath, put my hand up twice. United States Marine Corps, and also in the state of Michigan, highly certified. Actually, the Michigan State Police it's called the Fire Division.
Okay. What are you driving at here? I'm not real sure what your point is.
I love our country. I love our country. Yet, and I've asked you guys this before, what part of freedom is free? Is it violence? Do we have to shoot each other?
I don't understand the question.
Well, there's not really a question.
Well, it sounds like the question is more or less, can we be free without having constant conflict between us?
That's right, man.
Yes.
And that's what I have a desire for. So
the answer is yes.
I can. Yeah, I believe we can.
And the answer is the only way it's going to happen. And thank you, David, for your call and your thoughts tonight. Is for people to embrace the idea of allowing their neighbors to be free. That's the secret. If you want freedom, you have to allow everybody else to be free.
The price of tolerance is tolerance. Okay. And so if you want to be tolerated, you must tolerate people who are different. But at the same time, there's somewhat of a geographical component to that.
Yeah.
Which means there are people that I can tolerate 10 miles away that I might not want to tolerate, in my living room.
Sure. Well, there's a difference between, toleration, sort of allowing somebody to be who they are. It doesn't mean you have to embrace them fully. It doesn't mean that you have to become them or, appease them, right?
Yeah. But what you do have to do in general is let them live their life so long as their life is an expression of rightful liberty. And rightful liberty is a concept I take from Thomas Jefferson, who said rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to your will, provided that you do not violate the equal rights
of others. David, thanks for the call tonight, man. I definitely appreciate it. Let's get into the darknet here, because we mentioned it earlier tonight. I want to make sure we get to this story because we've been following
we don't want to be a tease.
We've been following dark web, darknet market sites for almost a decade now. It was 2011 when, and I don't remember what part of 2011, but it was some point in 2011 where the Silk Road went online and changed everything as far as the war on drugs and the drug marketplace is concerned. They went from people having to skulk about in parking lots and back alleys, meeting questionable people.
Meeting people that might kill them.
Yeah. Or vice versa.
Or vice versa. Yeah,
highly dangerous. Or meeting the police, who also might kill them or lock them in a cage. And so they took this incredibly risky business and dramatically reduced the harm because they put it online. They separated the drug dealers from their customers by distance and anonymity, so people were able to buy the products that they were looking for without ever having to meet the person who was selling it to them.
Right.
And so any kind of drug dealer robberies just ended if they moved onto the darknet because you weren't in the same place with another person.
To be replaced to some extent by fraud. But fraud is not the same thing as as robbery.
That's different
for
than
one
getting a
thing.
knife stuck in your back
Yes,
or whatever.
You don't get hurt when you get
Right.
physically when you get defrauded.
Yes,
You
and
can work that into your expense calculation.
And while there certainly is fraud being attempted on darknet markets, by no means is it as common as you would find in the real black market, where frequently you might buy something from a questionable dealer. Turns out it wasn't even what you thought it was. You gave him money, he gave you something, wasn't what you thought you were buying. That happens all the time. But on the darknet, because of competition, because all these dealers on the darknet are competing with each other, they have an incentive for quality and they have an incentive for lower price.
Because of competition, but because of something else also, which is they have a little bit of accountability there. In that, just like on eBay,
a reputation
if
system.
you make a bad buy, you let other people know that something happened, something bad happened. And from the numbers, you will recognize in general the good and bad people. Now,
Correct.
somebody can always decide to sell his reputation for what you just gave him. But at least he has to give up his reputation.
That doesn't work very well.
What doesn't?
I find it works
if
very
you
well.
sell your reputation effectively, for a little bit of money, so in other words, you defraud somebody and your reputation goes down, you end up making a lot less money usually.
Oh, yeah, it's stupid.
So it's not like a bright thing to do.
It's short-term thinking.
It is absolutely short-term
Oh, well,
thinking.
very few people who've gotten to hundreds of user ratings are going to throw it all away.
Right.
for a
Because
deal.
they're exactly the people who don't do stupid things.
Right. That's how they got to where they are. So the latest in the darknet world, because again, Silk Road's been gone since 2013. This story from Bloomberg.com. Empire Market has been closed for some number of days now. And so, of course, they had a variety of
3
products on there. And it wasn't just drugs. They had things like fake passports, driver's licenses, and even computer hacking tools. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We'll tell you more about Empire Market. Is it closed for good? Was it what they call an exit scam? If you want to weigh into the discussion, you can here. This is Free Talk Live.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MechTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up anything you want here. 855-450-FREE. If you don't get in tonight, well, that's okay, because Nobody Tells the Truth is coming up. What time are you starting it tonight?
Nobody knows.
Sometime within the next hour.
Yeah,
we'll start it.
I'm going to try
10:30?
to start it relatively... okay, let's say
10:30?
10:30, just so we can give a solid number that I can commit.
10:30 Eastern Time. You can follow us on our DLive channel and our Twitch channel, dlive.lrn.fm and twitch.lrn.fm. That's where you can go and follow either one of those places, and that's where you'll see the show Nobody Tells the Truth. It's a video, internet exclusive, so that means you can say words you can't say on the FCC broadcast radio, and there's a good chance
got some big words coming up.
There's a good chance that'll happen. So we were telling you about the dark net marketplace, which is one of them. There's a variety. Empire Market is now down. Now, I don't know how many years it was up. I feel like it's been around for a couple of years at least, Empire Market.
At least 2 years, maybe 3.
And, none of these things last forever. Either they get taken down by law enforcement crackdown, or it's an exit scam, as they call it. Now, what is an exit scam?
An exit scam is...
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to put you to sleep.
As I said before, when somebody can liquidate their reputation, an exit scam is when the whole market does that. So a certain number of people will have money stored on the market.
Yes.
That is either an escrow or it's in their wallet on the market, and it's there so they can buy things. And
they're cryptocurrency. We didn't mention that this uses cryptocurrency.
It's all either
Monero.
Bitcoin or Monero or whatever. So what is possible, because you don't know who's operating these, you can't. The only way to have true accountability is to get the government out of the way. So these people can do an exit scam and disappear with the money that's on the account.
And we're talking about millions of dollars. Millions of dollars in a lot of cases worth of money.
But they got me for when Empire Market disappeared. They got me for $11
million.
No, $11 worth of.
You were worth a heck of a lot more than I was aware of. Nobody.
No, I had $11 worth of Monero on there,
but
that's how I leave it when I'm not buying something.
And it's generally a bad idea to leave money in one of these wallets, because you know at some point it's gonna go down.
Right.
Whether it's because they got taken down by denial of service attacks and they just decide not to come back, which is one of the claims I've heard about this, which I think is BS. While it's true they are constantly under attack from denial of service, that's just an excuse. I think that's an excuse.
The thing is, they were constantly under attack,
but they all are.
And
all of the dark
they
net
all
markets
were, but Empire became unable over time. Like there was a time when they could provide me with a very satisfactory service 90% of the time, and the amount of time that I found a service in terms of response time to be satisfactory was going down at the end.
Yep. Bad sign.
And,
Bad sign.
You know, there was another thing that I noticed which was I had a couple of people tell me that they put some money on the market and it disappeared a couple weeks before this. So what they may have been doing is they started harvesting their newcomers and then maybe moved on to that.
You know,
but it's unfortunate. But at the same time, these markets can't be permanent. They have to move on because sooner or later the police will show up looking for them.
And I like the idea that they kind of go away, you know, before the police catch up, because then the police don't get that win, you know. And well, I'm not a big fan of them doing an exit scam in the situation where they're actually taking your money. I don't necessarily object to shutting down and, you know, giving people some time to leave, to get their money out.
There was a market that did that. What were they called?
Agora Market.
Yes. Good name.
Yeah, great name. You knew there were libertarians running it because of the name.
Oh, for sure.
Agora means market, so it's a little redundant.
And they practice what they preached if they shut down.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. What they did was, and this was, Agora Market was the first real big one that came after Silk Road. It was sort of the next one. And they lasted a couple years, and then at the end, things got a little hot for them. I think they got a tip or something that the police might have been, you know, coming in, and they said, all right, 3 weeks. You guys have 3 weeks. They put up a notice whenever you went to the site. Everybody that logged in would be given like a blazing notice, like, hey, okay, we're going to shut this thing down. You better go ahead and pull your money out because we're shutting it down. And they shut it down when they said they were going to, and they gave they exited gracefully. It's the only time it's happened.
And I wouldn't even object so much to a quick shutdown if that money
Sure, but
was...
3 weeks is fair because not everybody's logging in every single week.
I think there's certain circumstances where it may make sense to shut down quicker and not.
Especially if the sheriff's on your heels, you just have to run. You don't have any other choice. You can't take time.
I think optimally, what we would see is that money just ends up going to charities. You know, some set of charities, or that way the money doesn't just get wasted or get pocketed at the same time, and hopefully it undermines whatever government.
I want to go to the phones.
Violences they're trying to do against you.
We got Kirby. He's on the line in Indiana. Kirby, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
Hey, pleasure talking to you on Facebook today.
What's up, nobody? I wanted to comment on how many people I have seen online who are in support of Kyle Rittenhouse. It should not surprise me, buddy.
Kyle Rittenhouse is the young man, 17 years old, who, it's still not clear exactly what happened with the first shooting. Some say it was a self-defensive shoot against a man that was throwing an alleged Molotov cocktail at him. So, Kirby, what are your thoughts about that?
It was not a Molotov cocktail. That much we know. It might have been something heavy in a bag. It might have been something light in a bag. We don't know what it was, but it was not flaming.
It flew like it had some weight to it in the video that I saw.
Yeah, it looked that way to me, but it's hard to tell because...
It wasn't an empty bag, I don't think. But Kirby, what about it?
My thoughts, number one, he was 17. He shouldn't have been there. He wasn't old enough to have the firearm he had. And
this is what you said when you called a couple of nights ago. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but according to the research we did, at least as far as federal law is concerned, there is no prohibition on people under age having a rifle. There is a federal prohibition on having a handgun if you're under the age of 18. But are you saying that it's Wisconsin law that he was violating?
Okay, put it like this. If you know a 17-year-old, take them to a gun store tomorrow and have them try to buy a rifle.
Sure, you can't legally buy it, but you can be gifted.
Yeah,
it.
that's not the same thing. You can absolutely.
He can be gifted it, but he still could not legally take it out of the house without an adult who is.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Are you saying that's a Wisconsin law?
That's a federal law.
All right, you're gonna have to give that. You're gonna have to give me that code because I looked it up and I couldn't find that.
I would love to see that code.
And you're a gun person. Am I right on that? You're a believer in firearms.
Yeah, I'm a lover of firearms.
Do you really feel that if this law is on the books, do you really feel that it's within the spirit of the Second Amendment.
Of course it's not.
Because to me, if somebody asked me to enforce that law as governor, I would have to say that's an unconstitutional law.
The Second Amendment doesn't say it excludes minors.
Right.
It's supposed to apply
right
to everybody. Right.
Yeah.
Every man.
I mean, everything. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should.
I think you should. If you're 17 years old, you are absolutely able to handle a firearm responsibly.
There's two different things that he's talking about here.
He can't go buy a pack of cigarettes.
He should be able to do that.
Be able to do that too, absolutely.
I'm not going to debate. I'm not arguing that.
Okay.
What I'm arguing is what he can and cannot do per law. He can't even join the military without a parent or guardian signature.
Well, I think young people should be able to do more. I think they should be able to do more. Whatever it is they want to do, they should be able to go out and do it. If they're ready to be an adult, they should take on the responsibilities and whatever the consequences are of making adult choices.
Well, he's about to suffer the consequences for those adult choices.
Maybe he is.
Personally, I think his mother, who drove him there, should be in jail.
I disagree with you firmly on this one, Kirby. I don't think it would have made a difference. Are you saying you think he would have been better if he were 18?
I think he would have been better if he had used a bit of common sense and stayed home.
Should everyone have stayed home?
Hold on. I think he was out there playing Rambo. I think he was out there because he wanted the excitement.
Maybe.
I didn't get that impression.
But would that be okay?
Does it matter? Does it matter?
Yeah, what if he were 30 and he wanted the excitement? Is that okay?
Then he'd still be in the same situation.
Yeah, he would. So the age doesn't matter. I'm out of time tonight, Kirby. We'll see you tomorrow online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com. And stay tuned on DLive and twitch.lrn.fm for Nobody Tells the Truth coming up in about a half hour.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Questioning Authority is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hitting the trail. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump, fresh off of the last night's convention speech, heads to a state that could be critical in this year's election.
President Trump told the outdoor crowd at the airport in Manchester, New Hampshire, that he sees poll numbers swinging toward him as they wrap up the week of the Republican convention.
We are right now in the most important election in our history.
The president again focused on protest violence, calling the demonstrators who confronted convention goers Thursday night as they left his acceptance speech, including those who tried to get physical with Senator Rand Paul, thugs.
Because the Democratic mayor of Washington, D.C., It's another Democrat that's not believing in law and order.
Just like he said what is happening in cities like Portland, Oregon. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Thousands of people gathered on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. to mark the 57th anniversary of the March on Washington. Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Kamala Harris delivered a video message denouncing recent violence against black men and women by police.
We continue to see black men and women slain in our streets and left behind by an economy and justice system that have too often denied black folks our dignity and rights.
Harris said the road ahead is not going to be easy, but there is an opportunity to make history. The number of dead from Hurricane Laura has risen to at least 14, with hundreds of thousands in Louisiana without power or water.
We were one of the first to arrive at Holly Beach. That is where the hurricane made landfall. Some structures survived this hurricane, but a lot of RVs and cars just completely destroyed and other people's homes.
Fox's Brian Yennis in Louisiana. President Trump is expected to visit the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana over the weekend. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to do it yourself, need help with design, or prefer measure and install services, they keep it simple with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. New window treatments are a simple way to really benefit the look and feel of your home. And Blinds.com will guide you every step of the way with free online design help. And if you're nervous about trying them, don't be. Blinds.com has over 30,000 five-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you. Go to Blinds.com now to take advantage of this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Rules and restrictions may apply.
The Prime Minister of Japan announces he's resigning.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe announcing he's stepping down for health reasons, saying a chronic bowel condition he's had since he was a teenager has resurfaced. He says he can't risk making mistakes on important decisions. Abe is Japan's longest-serving prime minister, in office for nearly 8 years in total. He pulled the country out of recession and bolstered ties with the US, but more recently has been criticised for his handling of the coronavirus outbreak. It's the second time he's resigned for poor health. Simon Owen, Fox News.
A truck driver from Northern Ireland has pled guilty to manslaughter in the deaths of 39 people found in the back of a container truck last year in southeastern England.